no ke ike aku ke kai mo nanu ila we ke aloha I po ini me ke aloha kali po He ho he no ke ike aku ke kai mo nanu ila nui ke aloha I po ine me ke aloha kali po He po ai pai ke o te hinu la lai kala ke ia mai mana he pono ke ia He po ai pai ke o ne hinu la lai kala ke ia mai mana he pono ke ia Ko e kalimu ko ke kauilu na mo kula o ia mo kula la e ho ni o ia ne ko e kalimu ko ke kauilu na mo kula o ia mo kula la e ho ni o ia ne Haina mai ka puana kali po me kali uko wa bili o he me ka pahe anu ni me kali padu Haina mai ka puana kali po me kali uko wa bili o he me ka pahe anu ni me kali
What's up, everybody? Ready to go at day 2?
Yeah! Was that amazing or what? Those girls are beautiful. I've been watching those twins dance, and they were this little. They've just grown into so much. They were beautiful. You guys did a great job. Let's give it up for them again.
One more time, yeah.
One more time. It's hard to get in front of people. They did an amazing job. And that's Shireen's grandchildren, by the way. They're adorable. So cute. Thank you, guys. Did an amazing job. All right, you guys ready to kick it off again today? Yes? What did you guys think of yesterday? That's right, we had a lineup of great speakers this morning. We had a rock star opportunity, those that made it, from 9 to 12. We had to plug in with Phil Stringer. We had Michelle Wilson, Nolly Williams. Thank you so much. What are some of the nuggets, some takeaways from yesterday?
I'm glad everybody showed up early because we had a pretty good party last night, right?
I know, right? How was the party last night, too? Maui Brewing Company. Let's hear a couple things, shout-outs. One aha from yesterday. One more time. Love, love, love. Another one. God first. I love it. Anything else? 1%. Yeah, what's the 1%, Dylan?
Don't worry about the 1%.
That's right. All right, we're gonna do an Instagram thing. You said?
Oh yeah, we gotta get the content, right?
We gotta do the content.
So can we get some lights, you guys? Lights up a little bit. And when I say go, everybody go crazy. All right? We good?
There we go.
All right. So we're gonna start with us, and then we'll go up. All right?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Ready? Go.
Everybody go crazy!
There we go. I'll tag all of you.
Yeah, hit the QR code. Awesome. All right, we're going to kick off another great day here again. The very first speaker we have today, actually someone near and dear to me. I actually called her she's like a family member I didn't even have now. The unique story of us even connecting was the most ironic story ever. For those who talk about Asian attraction and the methods that we used them in the very beginning, mine was completely unorthodox. I was a stalker. And to be the best, I was a stalker. I was a Facebook stalker. And I actually made an opportunity to start doing my Asian attraction in 2017, 18. And my very first person I brought into there is this next speaker here. And it was a random thing that she thought I was someone else. I thought she was someone else. And it happened to work. And here we are. I now call her my unicorn. She's amazing. I thank her every day because she's changed my life like overnight. I think we changed each other's lives, but I'm so grateful for you. Yeah. All right.
Let me add to that. Take a break.
All
Take a
right.
break. All right. You know, there's so many amazing people in this company, right? And you guys heard from Brent yesterday. And I was at a conference one time, and I was talking to some folks at breakfast that I didn't know, and they were from Sacramento. And I asked them, hey, do you know Brent? And they said, yeah. And I said, yeah, he's awesome. And we were talking about him. And they said, you know, the thing that a lot of people don't know about Brent is he's been doing this for 25 years, and he's only being rewarded for it now through the EXP business model, right? And Shireen is another example of this, you guys. She has been an amazing person her entire life, has helped people selflessly, has loved like very few people love. And this business model is rewarding for her for those years and dedication to other people. And so think about, there's a great saying, right? Your income is a direct reflection of the value you provide the world, right? And if you're providing the world a ton of value, you get rewarded for it, sometimes not in the way you think you're going to be rewarded for it. But Shireen is a great example of this business model, both just on the real estate side and the agent attraction side, paying you back for all that you've given and all you've contributed to so many of us. So thank you, Shireen.
Yes, she's the godmother. I love her. She is the godmother. Let's welcome to the stage Shireen Duncan.
Woo!
Woo! Get her late.
We're blowing it with the lay right now.
Good afternoon, you guys. Wow, that was some introduction. Thank you, brothers over there. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I know it was kind of fun. I know I have to brag one more time. Those were my beautiful little identical twin granddaughters who have worked so hard since they're about 3 years old doing hula. So they have worked hard, they've traveled, and they're just the most precious things in my life. So anyway, I am excited to kind of share my story with you guys. You know, I've shared my stories at Brent events in Arizona and Texas and all these places, and I've never had the opportunity to share my story with my ohana right here, with so many people that are in my group and so many people that I've had the pleasure of working with. I love how many people are here that are even from other companies that I know, and I don't know, I just really appreciate it. But I want to start out with my little story. Hopefully I can get through this okay. So I've had a good start to the year, and I want to thank somebody in this room for that. Somebody that partnered up with me and has been working with me on some of his deals, and somebody I've respected for a long time, and that's Joel Cavasso, who I got to sponsor not very long ago. Only less than a year ago, Joel said, hey, let's have coffee. So we did, and he said, why didn't you tell me about this EXP thing? So honestly, again, that was one of those people that I just got blessed with. And anyway, it's been a very busy year, and I really appreciate that, and we're going strong. So moving on, I want to let you know that when I first got going in real estate, I was a third-generation realtor. I mean, my father is a phenomenal realtor. My grandmother was a real estate agent, and we just kind of have trickled down. My brother is a great broker. So my first house is right here. I found it on Google Earth. And I actually bought it with my husband, who's also here today. So we got this. I was 19 years old. Interest rates had dropped all the way down to 14%. We were very excited because he was doing loans at the time, and it was very exciting. People could save so much money a month because they could refinance at 14%. You guys just all need a reality check. And that's why I just brought that up. So anyway, just moving on from there, I went on, and do you see what year this is now, 1993 to 2006? At that time, I moved to San Luis Obispo, California, and started a mortgage company in our garage. And all we had to do at that time is buy a fax machine and a copier. They were not the same machine. And that's pretty much all we needed. Then we just had to start building relationships with underwriters and different brokerages that we could broker through. And then what I had to do, and my biggest job was to go around and make best friends with the top 20% agents. And, you know, I remember yesterday Tony said, what does it matter, the top 100? What does it matter? I don't care. Well, my life has revolved around those top 20% and those top hundreds in every county. So that's who I always focused on. I would pay a ton of money to get that list of the top 100 agents. That's all I wanted to do, having this mortgage company I was trying to build. I was trying to recruit great loan officers, and I was trying to recruit great agents that would use us, because I knew if they used us, all the little guppies around them would too. So that's kind of how I have been thinking my whole life. So that was all those years. Now, if you were around in '06, or if you've heard the stories about that time of year, things completely turned the next year. And so did I. I changed professions. I got out of lending, and I ended up going to Fidelity National Title. I know that sounds crazy. I went from having a company to moving to Lake Tahoe, where I didn't know anyone, and I thought I was going to take time off, but I got really bored. I was talking to my dog too much. I realized I needed to do more, so I called Fidelity. I literally had a job in 5 minutes. They knew me from my mortgage company, and they said, okay, great, you can work Lake Tahoe area. That was a wonderful thing for a few reasons. I lived in Lake Tahoe 5 years, worked for Fidelity that whole time, but I met my husband that I have now that is absolutely amazing. He's been a huge supporter. He was a broker for 35 years, ski in, ski out of Lake Tahoe. If you call that work, I don't. From his desk. He had his skis behind his desk. So anyway, finally got him here to Hawaii. I got recruited to Hawaii by Fidelity. Fidelity National Title wanted me to come here to be their sales manager for the state. So I came over here, and I had such a great time with them because I was getting to know all the different islands. And that was great. In fact, Mercy's here from Maui. She and I worked together back then. Love Mercy. And then Darrell, you guys all know Darrell. She and I worked back then. Now she's running the show. There was somebody else. Oh, I told you yesterday, I hired Kurt Johnson. I think he's amazing. Wasn't that a good hire? You know why I hired him? Because he called me every day, relentlessly. And then look how amazing he is. What does that tell you? Like, relentless pursuit is a good thing. So anyway, that kind of is how that story went to get me here to Hawaii. However, management's not my favorite thing. I don't like herding cats. I don't like telling people what to do. I just like to do what I want to do. And I ended up jumping off of, not because I didn't love Fidelity, but because I was ready to get back into the full commission game, which makes me tick a little better. So anyway, then I decided that I was going to start selling real houses, which is my dad has tried to get me to do all my life. I didn't want to do it. And then look what happened. So when I decided to make that change, though, I knew, because all of my best friends throughout my life have been very top realtors. Top. I mean, I know what it takes to be a great realtor. But what I did is I knew this guy from Keller Williams named Brett Tanner. He's in Arizona. He's an amazing agent. And I thought, you know what? I called Brett. I said, I called everybody I knew that was a great realtor, and I said, hey, I'm going to get into real estate. What do you want to tell me? And with Brett, he said, come to Arizona and spend the day with me. I said, okay. I jumped on a plane, and I went, spent the whole day with him. And at the end of the day, I took a lot to this day. It's how I started my business, on a lot of what Brett told me to do. But I got the Miracle Morning. He gave me that book that night at a cigar bar. You guys have never touched a cigar in my life, and I didn't that night. But I went to the cigar bar, and it was killing me. And then he hands me this book. He signs it. He tells me, you got to do this. So I read the book on my way home in the airplane. I started doing it every day. I do definitely recommend that book. It just sets your day up properly. So if you haven't, I put it on here because it really did help me. The other thing that he helped me do is I hired, before I even got my license in hand, I hired a full-time transaction coordinator assistant. And I knew I was going to need that because there's so many things. I mean, if you're going to start a business, you don't try to pretend to be everything. If you're going to have a successful business, are you going to be the accountant and the bookkeeper and all of those things? So I really needed to get somebody that could help me. I'm not great at that detail work, and I don't love it, and I know what I do well is talk to people. So that's how I got started. Not only, I see right there, that last sentence on there, I know, too, that I'm the hardest person on myself. And, I hear people say, I'm going to be true to my authentic self, and I'm going to do all these things that this generation says now, which is fine if probably most of you are there. But I just don't think that way. I just have to kick my own butt. I have to. I just have to. It's built inside of me, and I want to do as much as I can every single day. And I think that getting started in real estate, even though I didn't know anybody in Hawaii that was not a realtor, everybody I knew was, and I was starting in real estate. But I just knew what I had to do. I had to do some things outside the box, and it doesn't matter what you do, you guys. Decide what you're going to do, and then do it. So what I was preparing for right here, this was my little tiny team in 2017. There's Frances. She came by yesterday. Rick Ruggles. He's not in real estate anymore. And then that guy on the left was a trainer from Nashville, Lance. But what we were doing is I was getting my broker's license, and I was at Keller Williams, but I was planning on starting my little business called Hawaii Lux Homes. So that's what I was doing. I was getting my broker's license, and that was my plan. Not because I wasn't happy where I was, just because that was my plan. However, as I'm preparing myself, what happens? This happens. Who the heck is a Japanese cowboy? He sends me this, and it comes over on Facebook Messenger, and I think he is this guy I had a couple listings, in fact, in Lanikai, and they were all about the same price range, and he had been this guy that was Japanese who had a cowboy hat on, kept showing some buyers. So I knew, I don't know who that was, and to this day, I don't know who that was. If you do know, please tell me. I don't know who it was, but all I know is I thought that was him. And I couldn't be mean, because I think he had a buyer for one of my houses, so I was being so nice. But I didn't even know. I didn't know Chris. Later, I find out he's from Sacramento. I'm like, well, then he wasn't showing my houses. He wasn't showing those listings. So as you see, like Chris said tonight, it was just fate. I mean, the fact that he reached out to me, and I was very nice, as you see. Of course, I listen. But it took me 3 months to watch the video. But then once I did, as you can see, I don't think you see the date, but I just found this. I went back and found it. It was in August. A couple months later, I actually watched the video because he kept following up with me. And I went to EXP. I did it overnight. And so much of this, as much as I was planning my future, I knew that lovely Stuart Wade was probably where I was going to end up. Even if I started my own real estate company and I had Hawaii Lux and I had agents all over the place in Hawaii, I still was probably going to be selling houses when I was 100 because I'm going to live to be 104 and a half. So I really didn't want that. I really wanted to stop a little sooner. But that's really where I was headed. So I started building EXP, and I started doing it pretty quickly because I could see it. I really had a vision. It was hard for me to unsee. I happen to know Brent since we were young, and in the video that Chris gave me, I saw Brent Gove in the background. This is so long ago, he wasn't doing the video, but he was in the background as an icon agent. So I picked up my phone, I called Brent, what are you doing? And he says, I go, what is this EXP? I thought you were at RE/MAX. Or maybe at Keller Williams, I knew it was one of those. And he said, oh no. He goes, no, I've been doing this 1 year and 3 months. Don't even think about it, just do it. Just do it. Well, I trusted him so much. So I was texted Chris after 3 months of not watching it, and I just said, I'm in all capital letters. And I switched companies the next day. You guys, nobody switched faster than me. And not only that, but that was when it was not easy to switch back then. I mean, sponsoring people early on, I'd be yeah, you can come on, but it might take 2 to 3 weeks. It was such a cluster because we were growing too fast. And it was crazy, but I got lucky, and this was my first little tribe that I had right here. So John Ballesteros, he came on board right away. Ashley was on. She's like my sister. She's in my top 5 humans on the planet. And she's still right here, strong as ever. And then this little guy, little guy. I did not say that. Lance Simpson, he's from Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. He does all the sync training, but he also has Nashville Advantage Real Estate. And so anyway, these were my 3 big starting people that are still with me to this day, and that really helped build the business that I have. So it was, I don't take credit, it's all of us. And this was kind of my core group that started. So here's something, we're going to come back to this. I'll say it once. People are not listening until they're the ones asking the questions. I'll come back to that. So I want to talk about, I'm not going to talk about recruiting because I don't recruit. I'm sorry, I know there's some amazing recruiters in this room, and that's fine. You guys can be recruiters, and hats off. I'm just not. I really believe in attracting, and I feel like with my background of always pleasing realtors, trying to figure out their needs and what they are, I have just a natural want to help realtors. It's in me. I want to help other realtors. So some of the things that I believe in, and I think if you don't want to be a recruiter, but if you just want to adopt some of these things, I think you will naturally attract agents. Be willing to give. You guys, we have great, we go to these real estate conventions, and they're working their butts off selling $2 and $3 and $4 and $500,000 homes. $800,000 home is like a mansion. So honestly, we get great commissions for the homes we sell here. So I want to say, be willing to give. If you're in the middle of a transaction and it's, give a little bit, you guys. If it's less than $1,000, you don't even have to blink about it. You don't need to make a deal about it. You don't need to try to get the buyer and the seller to agree. When you have a chance, I like to just say, hey, I got this. Let's move on. I'll take care of that. I just think that it makes a huge difference. So there's one of the things I would say. I try to even think about it like, I know that's my commission. I'm going to take off a couple grand or whatever it might be, just in case. So I kind of know it already. If I know it in advance, I'm not afraid to do it. So now I know it's going to happen. I'm going to be in escrow with you guys, and you're going to be like, Shreen, it's less than $2,000, and then I'll just take care of it. So I know you're going to do that. I can't wait till the first one of you does that. I'm going to be like, yeah, but you're already at EXP. I don't care. Oh my gosh. So anyway, the other thing I want to say is be early. Be early. I know that sounds silly, but whenever you're asking another agent to show up and show a property for you, like say it's their listing, I try to go early, unless I have my people in the car and we're going one to the next to the next. But a lot of times if it's a really nice home and takes a long time to get that ready, especially if it's a luxury listing, go early, help them get set up. And then at the end, if you can, help them break down. Just think of the things you can do to make things a little bit easier for other people. I say be aware. And what I mean by that is be aware. Sometimes you're going to notice right off the bat, this is a brand new agent. Look at this contract. Oh, dear. And instead of being judgmental, right up front, say, hey, you let me know what I can do to help you. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Let's work through this together. Let's learn together. Instead of just being tough on them and making them run to their broker all the time because you're intimidating them and scaring them. I've seen that happen to people, and it breaks my heart. I'm like, come on, you guys. We're all one team. Let's help each other. The other thing is to be proactive. What do I mean by that? Think about the people that you might be able to attract, and I'll tell you who those people are. If we live in the most transient state in the U.S., so we have tons, and we have 6 military bases. Talk about transient. We are constantly buying, selling, helping people sell here, go buy somewhere else. So I really believe in attracting those agents. Instead of going, oh, where's the EXP agent in Florida? No, let me find an agent and help them become EXP in Florida. So I constantly do that. I like to try to find an agent that kind of fits the right parameters that might be really good for EXP. So somebody that maybe does 10 to 15 deals a year, they're on their own. You can see where maybe they work for a company that the splits, and you're thinking, shoot, this might be a good thing for them. They've been in the business long enough, they could probably easily just switch over. So I like to do that. The other thing when you do that, you can actually say, hey, look, would you be willing to look at the EXP model? I'm sure you've heard of it, but have you really looked at it before? And would you be willing to look at the model for me? And they always say yes, because you're just about to hand them over money, right? You're just about to hand them a client. So if they do that, I like to send them the video or talk to them on the phone, watch that video with them on a Zoom call. And if you do that, what I've done before is just, okay, you know what? Since you're coming over to EXP, the company's going to pay me a referral fee from you every year. So I don't need that referral. Do you see? The company will pay you a referral every single year if they move over to EXP. So that is one thing you can do, and it's just it's just thinking outside the box a little bit. I also think you need to be prepared. I like to carry a mallet and some zip ties in my car. If I ever see one of your signs, even EXP agents, any agent on this island that's got a problem with their sign, I will stop and fix it. So I just don't see any problem with that, you guys. I think we all should be doing that kind of stuff on this island. And people are going to be like, oh, EXP agent must have come by, right? Okay, you want to be known as the recruiters, or do you want to be known as just the people really looking out for the rest of our industry out there? So the other thing is just to be thankful, to be grateful. I know we always do wonderful things for our clients at the end of a deal, but what about the other agent? What are you doing for them? I think it's important to give them a gift as well. And then I also think it's important after all that you go have coffee with them. Go sit down at a coffee shop and don't EXP all over them. That's so stupid. Just go talk to them and just have conversation. Find out what they're doing with their business and how you might be able to help them. Find out what they love about where they work now and find out what their challenges are. The most I do is maybe just a little bit. I will give them little things about, well, I do love that we're getting 100% EXP. They're not taking a franchise fee, and they're giving us some autonomy. And I don't go very much, but just once I know what makes them happy, I might just give 2 tidbits that might be something that works for them. And then, lo and behold, you keep being a great realtor. If they do hear about EXP, sometimes, even if they hear from somebody else, hopefully they will come back and work with the person they've had that good relationship with. So there's also, I say, do things the right way. You'll naturally attract other agents, and that's what I'm talking about, okay? So, okay, this is what you probably wanted to hear me talk about today. Look at the date on that. So beginning today, we have a new revenue share program at EXP. It has changed some people's lives overnight. It has literally changed some people's lives overnight. And what's so exciting is I'm going to run these numbers. I already ran them, and I'm going to run over them with you. I'm going to talk to you people not about recruiting, but just stay focused on your real estate sales 100%. You guys stay focused on your real estate sales. Because if you're selling, you're going to attract other agents who are selling, okay? Not agents who are not selling. You can get on the phone and cold call all day, and you're going to get 80% of the people you talk to aren't selling any real estate anyway. You think about that? So instead, get out there and sell some houses. And then when you're working with these other agents on the other side, those are the agents you're going to pick up and attract, okay? Because it only takes 3 million, maybe 3.2 million, of sales in a year to be a capper. So everybody I'm talking about right now, when I say everything I say from here to the end, it has to do with you talking to agents that are doing business. Not a lot. 3.2 million, you guys, that could be 1 deal. That could be 2 deals. I mean, maybe 4. Okay? Come on, you guys. So that's who you need to be talking to. So to create over $10,000 a month in passive income in 3 years, no capital investment at all, okay? You just focus on real estate. Let me show you how to do that, because that $10,000 a year a month will hopefully pay your bills. Depends on how your bills are, but it could pay most of them. Okay, so this is how simple it is. The first year, you just attract 2 agents. No big deal. attract 2 agents. And let me tell you something. Starting in July, and I'm going to run these numbers as though it's July. Starting in July, the first year that you sponsor an agent, it used to be $2,800 a year for your people you sponsored. It's now $4,000. So I'm going to do this as though the first 2 you sponsor, you're going to get $4,000, okay, per agent. So the company's going to share $8,000 with you for doing that. We're also going to say that each of those 2 people do the same thing, because you're going to teach everybody to do what you do. So 2 times 2 times 4. So you got 4 on the second level. The company shares $3,400 on your second level. That's $13,600. I want you guys to take a picture of this. You guys got to know what this is, okay? So your first year, you just by doing that, attracting 2 people, helping them do the same, you're going to make $21,600 from the company. Now that pays your $16,000 cap right there. So that gets you working at the company for free. So now let's just go to year 2. You're only going to bring in 2 more people. You guys, that's 1 every 6 months. Can you do that if you're selling houses and doing a great job for the other agent? You can do that. So year 2, 2 more frontline. Now look at the next line, second line down. Those 2 frontline, okay, that the last year, you're not going to get $4,000 for those anymore. You're going to get $2,800. So the 2 from last year that you sponsored, the company's going to pay you $5,600. Let's go down. Everybody you've just sponsored, you're teaching them to each just bring in 2. And that's all. Not more than that. I'm being as conservative as I could. So the line 3 on here is 8 on level 2, okay, because that's going to naturally be there. That's $27,000 because the company pays $3,400 on level 2 times 8. That's $27,200. The next one. They have now sponsored 2, so we have 16 on level 3, because it does do this. It compounds quickly. 16 on level 3, you have 32,000, because on level 3 they pay 2,000 every single year. So 32. There's your second year at 72,800. Got it? Not bad. You'll pay tuition for a kid. So year 3. 2 more front line, that's 8,000, yeah? 4 from your previous front line, that's 11,200. Now on level 2, you've got 12, that's 40,800. Now on level 3, you have 24, okay? That's 48,000. And here's the cool part. Now you've sponsored 6 people. If you only need 5 to open up your 4th level, at this point in 3 years, you could have level 4s. So now, instead of me saying those only sponsored 2, I'm saying they only sponsor 1. I'm trying to be so conservative here for you people. So on level 4, the way I did it is 24 on level 3, only sponsor 1 each. Okay? I'm saying they'll only sponsor 1. So that's 28,800. So there's your total of 136,800 a year. That's 11,400 a month with no capital investment. Please tell me where you can do that. This is so cool because I couldn't yesterday. This didn't happen. This happened today. This happened as of May 8th, 2024. The day I just happened to be talking to y'all. Isn't that cool? So anyway, I'm going to show you something before this system, when it was our old revenue share program. I'm going to show you because I don't want you to think, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. This is the first 2 years. Okay, so October of 2019, this is a shot of my rev share. And 2 years into the business, before we had this wonderful system we have now. You were, weren't you, Tiff? And so this is how it worked back then. Do you see that? This was in 2 years. Rev share was at 258 people. I brought in 22, and that was my rev share at the time, 16,817. That was 2 years into this. So anyway, I really wanted you guys to see that it works, how to work it, and I just want to say aloha, I love you all. And I'm coming back up on stage.
Yeah, thank you, Shireen. Give it up again. And we didn't match on purpose. Yeah, we did.
We did.
Kind of saying. All right, thank you so much. So I can't say nothing, but I'm going to start crying again. So I'll leave it alone. We're going to pick the next speaker, so go ahead. Let's talk about the next guy coming up.
You know, I'm not really ready to pivot that fast.
You're up here for 20 minutes. You're like, okay, now what am I going to say? I don't know what I'm going to say.
Nolly.
Yes. Nolly
I need
Williams.
my notes.
I know your notes. Where are your notes?
I should have planned ahead better.
No, that's all right. Well, let's just kind of Nolly Williams. So for those who know Nolly Williams,
Well, I have read his book, and it's amazing, so let's just start right there.
Yeah, for those who were this morning at 9 o'clock, had a taste of Nolly Williams, right? The guy who created a 3-hour day work week. He's a millionaire. He made his first $2 million when he was 29. He was in the industry for music. He had a record label. He rapped in Christian. Maybe you guys can get up here and have him start rapping in Christian rap. So maybe you can have him do some of that. And he wears a notorious cowboy hat that everybody knows him as kind of his stick, his cowboy hat, which I'm going to take from him. But other than that, let's give Nolly Williams a round of applause. Welcome, Nolly. Sorry.
Aloha, what's up? Is my family in the house? All right, we're going to turn up the house lights because I want to do one of them videos. All right, let's see some energy. We want to see some energy, so we're going to do 3 seconds. All right, it's EXP in the house, baby! Woo! Yeah! And we got some future EXPs out there too, so that's all good. What I want to talk about, and I know earlier Shireen, you knocked it out of the park. So good, so good. $250K in 3 hours a day, and I know Shireen had the same little subtopic, but it was a typo. I came up with that, and it's the agent attraction system. I call it the success shortcut. Who likes shortcuts? Oh, y'all like the long way. All right, shortcut. So what I want to share with you is what I call the 9 laws. How many? 9 laws of agent attraction. It's easier than you think, okay? Trust me on that. So this is me as a little kid, all right? That's me and my sister. And some of you know my story, some don't. When I was about 7 years old, my mom and dad divorced. Now, anybody ever went through that? My mom, she was very hurtful. Okay, she was very bitter. She was angry at Dad. And my name is Nolly Alexander Williams, Jr. What was my dad's name? Nolly Alexander Williams, Sr. And Mom hated Dad, and she kind of took it out on us kids. She would tell us things like me, she'd tell me, boy, you'll never amount to anything. You're worthless. I'm sorry we ever had you. You'll never be anything. When I was 7 years old, I was actually talking to Christy and Austin about this earlier. When I was 7 years old, I had a speech impediment. So I had to go to speech therapy. I couldn't even talk, all right? I was the shyest kid in school, had no self-confidence, and I believed that I would never amount to anything. So when I was 16 years old, you know what I did? I ran away from home. Anybody ever ran away from home? The weird thing is I never went back. I was 16, and I lived on the streets. I went from house to house, okay? Basically, I was homeless. I stayed with one homie for 2 nights, and then he kicked me out. Then I stayed with my other boys. I had friends, all right? Now they call it couch surfing. It's like cool now, you know what I'm saying? But back then it wasn't so cool. And I thought, man, I'm never going to amount to anything. Mom was right. And so I started on this bad track. But when I was 18, you know what happened? I met a man named Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. And that's me. Look, 18 years old, cleaned myself up, and I started becoming a manager. The truth is, you are what you believe. You are what you believe. You know, there's a lot of stuff about me. Entrepreneur since the age of 12, multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. Made my first $1 million by the time I was 29 years old. I teach successful business owners, entrepreneurs, how to quadruple your income while working less. Who wants to do that? Okay? And I'm a best-selling author, international speaker, but it wasn't always that way for me. And even if someone has told you a lie, like I was told, it's not true. And you can create a new story for yourself, can't you? Yeah. So now what I do is I have Life Unlimited. It's a ministry, Life Unlimited University. It's a nonprofit 501c3 that's dedicated to providing free. What kind of information? Free information. You know, there's a lot of nonprofits out there, and I love them. I donate to a lot of nonprofits. There's nonprofits that we donate that feed people. We donate to nonprofits that house people, that actually give people clothing. But the scripture says this: my people perish for what? Lack of clothing? Hold on. A lack of food? A lack of vision? A lack of knowledge? And so that's what we do at the ministry. I'm basically an evangelist. This is what I do. I'm a volunteer. Okay, I did get paid to be here. I'm here because I love my family. Is my family out there? Hold on a second. This is EXP, baby. This is Uncle Nolly talking, all right? So you are what you believe. That's me in the music industry. Still have my cowboy hat. It ain't coming off, you know? And I started believing a different story. I started believing that I was worthwhile, that I did come here for a purpose, that I can be somebody, okay, even though I never completed past 9th grade. The reason I'm telling you that is because a lot of times people say, oh, well, that's Nolly Williams. Oh, he's got YouTube and he does it. Look, I guarantee you 99% of you are better educated than me. You probably have a better disc profile than I do, okay? And you might have even had a better upbringing, but it doesn't matter. This model is built for anybody. We all can succeed. Last year, well, by the way, a couple things I want to share before we get into the 9 laws. Who wants to hear the 9 laws? Yeah, we're going to get to the 9 laws. So have fun with it. When I came to EXP, I thought I would never come. I was recruited to Keller Williams by Gary Keller. We lived in the same town, Austin, Texas. I was the #1 solo agent, my 5th year in the business in the entire town, okay, 9,800 agents. And I got the call from Gary. And some of you guys that were at Keller Williams probably saw me come through your market center because I've spoken over 100 cities. When I got to EXP, guess what I did? I started Mentorship Masters. When you start your revenue share group, call it something. Kind of have something that, you know, create that identity. You understand what I'm saying? I call it Mentorship Masters because we all, and by the way, Dylan's done a great job at this. I love it, brother. We all are masters. There's no master. I'm not the master. We're all masters together. My mission is to inspire you to become all that God created you to be so that you can live the life you were meant to live. Raise your hand if you think you're living to your ultimate greatness right now. You're doing all that you... Do I see any? I don't see any hands yet, okay? So we all have room for improvement. Here's your dream life. I'm going to tell you what it is. I coach, teach, and train real estate agents every single day. And here's what you guys are telling me you want. And this is what EXP can provide. This is what I call the Rev Share life. Making $250,000 or more a year, having nights and weekends off, 4 to 5 vacations a year, being completely debt-free, working 3 hours a day. How many of y'all like that? It's a proven concept. McGraw-Hill actually hired me, the #1 educational publisher in America, hired me to write a book on this, not concept, but it's basically a science project. And it proves that, anyway, we won't get into that because it took a lot of pages to write that, but it's scientific that 90% of the things that you're doing every day are creating 10% of your results. And there's only 10% of the things that you do that create the other 90. So it's what you do that makes the most importance. Which job would you pick? Okay, this is a hard question. Would you pick job #1, working 12 hours a day, earning $250,000 a year, retire in 30 years? Okay, residual income, 150. That's not a week, y'all. That's 150,000 a year. You like that job? Work 30 years? Well, that's what a lot of people bought into. That's called the American dream. Go work for a corporation and do all that. Retire, okay? That probably went away in the 80s, by the way. Now, job #2, work 12 hours a day, earn $250,000 or more a year, retire in 30 years, if you ever retire, and residual income after retirement, $0 a year. How many of y'all like that job? The first job is working at Boeing or Dell, okay, as an executive. The second job, that's a real estate agent. Isn't it? That's a real estate agent, okay? Or how do you like this job right here? Work 3 hours a day, earn $250,000 or more a year, retire in 3 years. How many of y'all like that? Shireen just broke it down for you, okay? And it's so easy to do. Proverbs 10:22 says, the blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it. Okay? Now, I see a lot of you out there hustling and grinding and putting in that painful toil, but there's an easier way. It's called Rev Share and 2.0, baby. What's up? All right, so 3 types of freedom. You guys know what it is. Financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom. Rev Share is the game for that. Get involved. So, the 9 laws of agent attraction. Law number 1, it's for you. That's a law. Did y'all know that's a law? Talk to me now. Am I in Hawaii? Where am I at? Okay. A lot of people have self-limiting beliefs. Man, Rev Share is not for me. I can't do it. How many of y'all had said that? Raise your hand. Be honest with Uncle Nolly. Come on now. Oh, hold on a second. I want to see some of your, I'm going to have you pull up the My EXP, see what you got going, okay? How many of y'all have said that? It's not for me. Now, you might have said it subconsciously. We all came here for the Rev Share, but are you doing it? Huh? It is for you. It's for every single one of us, okay? And you want to take advantage of it. Stop that self-limiting belief. Drop this false belief. Now, Shireen, I'm not going to step on Shireen's toes here, right? But you know what? When I was at Keller Williams, you know how many people I recruited? I was recruited there by Gary Keller. I spoke in over 100 cities in Keller Williams market centers, okay? Was never leaving until I saw the model, okay? And how many people do you think I recruited at Keller Williams in 10 years? Just guess, wild guess. 1,000 people. Who else? Somebody said 0. This is Uncle Nolly up here. Come on now. Give me some love now. Come on. I recruited 7 people in 10 years. 7. In EXP, I had over 160 my first 3 years on my front line. Okay? It's easier. That's all it is. It's easier. Okay? Now, look at this. This is what a recruiter is. This is Casey Giha. Okay? A recruiter is someone that cares enough about another human being that they're willing to sit down and have a conversation about what's going on for that person, what's working in their life and their business, what's not working, what can be improved, what are their hopes and their dreams, and then positioning as the resource to help them get it. That's what a recruiter is. Okay? The best definition I've ever heard of a salesperson, sales is finding out what other people need and making it easy for them to get it. That's all sales is. Am I right? You've been recruiting since the day you were born. You recruit people to go to that steak restaurant. Oh, yeah, it was good. Hey, you got to try it out. You recruit people to see that movie you like. Okay? Oh, that was a good movie. You got to watch it. Okay? You recruit people to Netflix. You recruit people to all kinds of stuff. Okay? So the truth is, with this definition, how many of y'all can buy into that definition of a recruiter? Right? We help people. Okay? And what I say is, you want to be, this is Uncle Nolly's opinion. Okay? Last year, EXP paid me over $250,000, okay, for helping people succeed. That's it. All right? So that's what I do. Law number 3, the quality is in the quantity. What is it? The quality is in the quantity. I see too many of you guys trying to pre-qualify people. Oh, and they'd never be too good. They'd never be a good fit at EXP. Now, if they got problems, you know, they're on drugs and stuff. You know, come on now. We got standards here. All right. But I'm saying you might look at somebody. I got a call. This God's honest truth. I got a call. Brand new agent. Okay, brand new agent. Never sold a house, nothing like this. And you know what I did with him? I put him on the back burner. Why? Because I was on vacation. I'm telling you the truth here. I was on vacation. I said, you know what? When I'm back from, this is a brand new agent. I don't have time, you know what I'm saying? And he wants to come work with me and all this. Well, guess what? Because I put him on, I got cocky. That's what I got. Anybody ever got cocky? Y'all never got cocky? I did, okay? This guy went with somebody else. He didn't want to wait till I got back from vacation. It would have been a 20-minute call. That's it. He just wanted to talk to me about joining EXP. That's it. I say, man, hey, here's what it's about. He had already seen the video, everything. Just put me down as a sponsor, no problem. The guy in his first 2 years did $80 million in sales, and he has recruited over 100 people, okay? But I just qualified him. I said, man, he's brand new, wet behind the ears, probably going to take up all my time. I don't want to deal with that guy, right? So don't pre-qualify. Now I kind of do pre-qualify people because when your group gets to a certain size, you could cherry pick all you want if you're already making that kind of money. You know that kind of money. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You're in real estate and you're making that kind of money, then you start cherry picking your buyers or your sellers. Does that make sense? But at first, don't do it. Just take them, okay? Consistency is key. This is time on the task over time. That's all it is. You put in the work, you're going to get the results. Scripture says a worker is worthy of what? Their wage, period. By the way, we live in the quantum field. Some of y'all don't know that, okay? The thing that I study most outside of the Bible is quantum physics. Okay, we live in the quantum field. The reality is all the work that you put in over here, helping other people succeed, is going to pay off over here. Okay? That's why Scripture says give expecting nothing in return, because the return might not come from this side. It might come from over here somewhere. You see what I'm saying? But it will always come. That's a law. Okay? Now, law number 5, the fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in what? Some of you guys just, I sent a text out, they never replied, I'm done. Okay? I had about 26, 27 people reach out to me about EXP. Only one guy followed up. Okay? And that's who I went with as my sponsor. You have to follow up with people. Create a system for follow-ups. Law number 6, don't be emotionally attached to the outcome. All right? You guys know that law. How many of y'all know that law already? Don't be emotionally attached to the outcome. Just let it, you just put in the work, all right? And the work will come the way it needs to be. Don't get emotionally attached to it. Law number 7, you got to follow the system. Did you guys know that there's a system for agent attraction? Did y'all know that? Is anybody, hold on a second. Y'all got voices, huh? Somebody put your voice in your pocket. My wife used to do that. She was a kindergarten teacher. She said, I'm going to put your voices in my pocket. You know what the kids did? They acted like y'all, silent. All right? Take your voice out your pocket. How many of you know that there's a system for agent attraction? You do? Okay. Now, I'm not going to call on you. That's what you're afraid of. Uncle Nala's going to call on me to try to get me to explain the system. The truth is, when I got into EXP, I was that guy that didn't follow the system, okay? I was like, man, this Uncle Nolly up in here, boy, I'm going to show you how to do some, you know what I'm saying? And I got cocky, I do that sometimes, all right? And then I get put back in my place, all right? So what I learned is that Brent Gove created a system. It's the 4 simple steps, the 4 simple steps. You go to his website. You can get all the information on it, brentgove.com. Step 1, make a big list. Step 2, reach out. Step 3, watch the model explained with them. Step 4, book them on a 3-way call. That's it. That's the 4 simple steps. It's that easy, okay? Y'all get that? Follow the system. Please don't try to come up with your own model and system. This is too easy. This is like 3rd grade stuff. It's easy enough for Uncle Nolly to do it, okay? All right? Now, law number 8 is know the product, okay? You got to know the product. Too many agents that I talk to that are at EXP, they don't know the product. They don't know all the programs we have. They don't know about RevShare 2.0. Glenn did a big video on it. They don't know a lot of things that we offer. They don't know the intricacies of our health care. They don't really know the product. And you got to get to know the product. There's a lot of ways study it, study up on it, get excited about the company that you're with. Okay? EXP changed my life. I got to tell you, the 3 biggest things that have ever changed my life. Number 1, Jesus Christ. Number 2, Josie, my wife, been married 32 years. And number 3, EXP. Has absolutely changed my life in every way possible. EXP has allowed me to become a missionary, okay, an evangelist, just going around and giving all the stuff that I do. I took over 1,000 listings my first 10 years in real estate. And I teach other agents how to do that. I do it all for free because I got EXP paying me, all right? You guys have residual bills just like I do, and the residual income is the answer to that. And law number 9, are these simple laws? How many of y'all say it's simple laws? They're easy. They're easy. The results are so worth the effort. Do not be that agent that wakes up 4 years from now and says, I wish I would have done what Shireen was talking about 4 years ago. Okay? Some people say that they're too late. Like Brent says, if anything, you're too early. We are going to grow to over 500,000 agents. We're only at 90,000. That means we're only 18% built out. We haven't even people, you think we're on the highway yet? No. We haven't even backed the car out of the garage. This is ground floor, okay? And that other 420,000 agents that come into EXP, they're going to come through you guys, all right? So get excited about it. And don't think that you can only recruit in your backyard. Well, everybody on the island knows. Who cares? I've got 5 agents in India. I've never met them. I've got several agents in Mexico. I've got agents in 40 states. You can recruit anywhere, okay? Now, for those of you that want, I'm just going to share real quick, Life Unlimited University, check it out. The slides, if you want these slides, they're there, okay? I'm going to give you the QR code for it. It's right here. And I have a lot of free stuff on there. What I'm interested in is not only lowering the failure rate, but getting you guys excited about becoming successful. How many of y'all want to be successful? Okay? All right? So here's the QR code. You can get those slides. And trust me, this is easier than you think. It's easier than you think. I encourage you to support the ministry, okay? Allow me to continue to go out there and spread the love, spread the, what do you call it, the aloha? What's up? All right? And also you can download the slides from that QR code as well. Guys, I'm Nolly Williams, the business healer. Do not make agent attraction complicated, because it isn't, okay? My wife and I were in a store the other day. We saw a pair of socks. You know those socks that have all kind of different sayings on them? And this one, you know what it said? Shh, I'm overthinking. Quiet, I'm overthinking. Don't overthink this. EXP is the future. It is the now, and it's easier than you think. God bless. Love you. Let's do it. Come on.
Come on, Dylan, come on. Okay, we have somebody very exciting to bring up here.
One more time for Uncle Nolly, maybe. Was that awesome?
It'll be turned on as soon as you
Right on, man.
they just change me on the spot.
Come on, Dylan.
Who's going first? Are you going first, or
I'll
am I
go
going
first,
first?
and you can go second. How's that?
Okay, so our next speaker is one of my favorite people in EXP. Oh, what's that? Or did you see?
I said I'll go first,
Okay,
you go
first.
second. Okay,
Lots of rehearsal. We had lots of rehearsal here.
watch this dance. Okay. No, I know we both have a very special connection to the next speaker, so that's part of why we're both up here. But I do want to say that this person is something I just adore. This woman. Happened to meet her years ago, ironically, through some cousins of hers that I ended up helping, that I met in Vegas and kept their whole family, and I just became very close to these people. And then they tell me that their cousin wants to get into real estate, and it just so happens their cousin was Kamalani. So it was so amazing when she ends up being the broker here for us, and we have been through so many brokers and a lot of things we went through. And so it's just been, I just want to say, like, she's been such a blessing, a special blessing to me, and that's why I wanted to say what I have to say. But of course, Dylan has some more specialness about this lady.
I just want to share some context about how she got here, and she's going to share a little bit more about that story, I think, in her talk here. But at my time at EXP, you heard a lot from Shireen and Nolly and others about attraction versus recruitment, right? And I've personally sponsored 40 agents into the company. They're not all still here. And I've helped over 100, right? Like personal meetings through other agents and stuff like that. And I've really only recruited one person. There's only one person that I ever called back a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, and spent 3 years going after, because I knew in my heart that this is where Kamalani belonged. I knew her since 2015. We did some stuff on the local board together. I came to respect her and admire her as a broker. And when times became kind of tough with EXP, with a lack of staffing support, and we had some positions available, I knew that she was the right fit for the company, and I knew she could have an impact on so many of y'all's lives. And that's the cool thing about this company, right, is if you work hard enough for one person, you can really impact a lot of people. And I think that's really what's happened is she came on board after literally 3 years of me stalking her, trying to get over here. Every single time we were hiring, I'd call her and I'd say, hey, there's a position open, will you come? And it wasn't right, it wasn't right, it wasn't right. And eventually it was right, and she came. And any of you have interacted with her, she's been such an amazing addition to our staff. And just the support system from her and the rest of our broker team is really, really amazing nowadays, and it wasn't always like that. And so I'm just super, super stoked that she'll be sharing some of that story, which is some of her vast knowledge with you guys if you haven't got that on the contract side already on the broker support line. So help me welcome Kamalani Dirksen, everybody.
Kamalani!
I think that was my talk, everyone. Thank you so much, Shireen and Dylan. It's really amazing to get to work alongside amazing human beings. And speaking of amazing human beings, I'm from the Big Island. My name is Kamalani. I'm one of the managing brokers here with EXP. But it's been really amazing to get to connect with some of our agents here based on Oahu and others that have flown in from other islands. And so thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here and just do this for yourselves and be here as a community together. Welcome to our guests and our visitors who are coming to spend some time with us here at Build. E komo mai, welcome. And today I'm just going to share a little bit about my story, some philosophies and some lessons that I've learned along the way, and maybe you'll get a nugget or two out of it, but here it goes. So when I took on my very first role as a managing broker, I was 2 weeks on the job before COVID hit. I had started with a new brokerage on March 1st, and 2 weeks later, the world shut down. 2 weeks into the new job, and it felt like the rug was pulled right out from under me. There was so much unpredictability, it was daunting. So how did I get there? For context, I had stepped away from a successful boutique brokerage that I owned and was very comfortable at to take on this new role with this big brokerage that had a significant reputation in my community. And it was a strategic move to expand my operating ability and to learn the workings of a corporate brokerage structure, which at the time was completely unfamiliar to me. And I wanted to take the initiative to learn it and to expand my resume. This change was a big deal. I up and left a cozy setup where I was an independent broker and business owner, and I went from full focus on my production to a whole new workflow that I knew nothing about. I went from being a full-time agent in the field doing deals and open houses and showings and all the things to a new job completely focused on managing the bigger picture. Primarily supporting agents who, before taking on that role, were my friendly competition. That brokerage put a lot on the line, and so did I. But I was at ground zero. As a newly signed on broker, I was in a completely new role with a roster full of agents who were facing the reality of working with a new managing broker, overseeing and leading their office. And majority of those agents were well-seasoned professionals and 20 plus years my senior. So no pressure, right? As many of you recall, in the early days of COVID, agents couldn't come into the office. Agents were unsure of how to operate in their roles with clients, all on top of facing the challenges of navigating their personal lives. In a world that had just shut down, everything was impacted. And going into that new role between myself and the agents, we didn't yet have trust built. We didn't really know each other, and we didn't have a sense of familiarity or confidence in business styles. I only had minimal rapport through maybe doing a transaction or through association dealings. So I was starting from scratch with a tall order to fill. As the world shut down, I began working remotely for the first time. And I knew I had to be proactive and creative with ways to connect with those agents, establishing value and respect, all while unable to engage in person. I could have sank. But separately, to my benefit and along my journey, I've had the great fortune to work with someone incredible, one of my esteemed business partners and mentors. She's a savvy negotiator, a solution finder, and a total badass. And through working closely with my mentor, I observed so many of the ways that she showed up tirelessly for our clients and commitments. She's always been a strong example of a good human being with high ethics and integrity. And she shaped many of the ways that I learned how to see the world and helped me to learn how to engage with others effectively and with kindness. So much wisdom. She gave me the keys to the kingdom and taught me principles and priorities that will serve me for the rest of my life. Many of those lessons I get to recall while sharing knowledge with others today. She also gave me the space to make mistakes without harsh judgment and taught me creative ways to figure things out. Working and learning closely from my mentor changed my life and the trajectory of what I could accomplish. It was like being in the fast track lane. I grew exponentially by being around someone who had vastly more experience than I did. So my suggestion, if you don't have a mentor, get one. Find someone that you look up to, that you're inspired by. Reach out and start the conversation. Raise your hand and be proactive. Additionally, I had stepped up for a number of different leadership roles within my local realtor association, where Dylan and I got to connect early on. So that gave me a little street cred too. So with those two things as a large part of my background and my foundation, instead of shying away from the challenge early on with that first position because of those unfavorable circumstances, I decided to go all in. I decided to just show up and take advantage of the position that was given to me. I had to just show up, ready, willing, and able. And over the course of navigating the early days and weeks and months of engaging with those agents, I focused on showing up as the best leader I could by creating ways to be of service, offering support, and being a pillar of confidence for my agents. I learned how to be adaptable under the circumstances and helped to train those in my care to do the same. That workload looked like constantly reinforcing core principles of care, consideration, respect, patience, professionalism, and optimism too. And reflecting overall what could have been an instant defeat actually transpired into an experience that was hugely impactful in shaping many of the ways that I get to show up for agents today. For those agents I got to work with years ago under those challenging circumstances, I'm fortunate to call many of them friends and respected colleagues today. A major takeaway from that first experience is a lesson that I call, it's all in the approach. What do I mean by that term? It's all in the approach. To paint the picture, this term for me comes from the sport of outrigger canoe paddling, a popular cultural water sport here in Hawaii. When a paddler is going through this series of motions of moving their paddle in a stroke pattern, any coach will tell you that it's all in the approach. How the paddler brings their paddle forward to place it in the water again. It's through these series of motions that an outrigger canoe accelerates speed swiftly. How the paddler approaches dipping their paddle into the water can make or break a win. It'll either create a very fluid feel and smooth cadence, or it can cause a stall and delay timing. It's a delicate and methodical process for a paddler to sequence with finesse and accuracy to get right. And a paddler must be so aware of how they approach that stroke in order for it to flow well, despite conditions around them. I've come to appreciate this term as a guide for anyone to use in so many circumstances. For example, when you need to have a conversation, it's all in the approach. How you approach the person, the topic, or the issue. Are you aware of the person on the other side? Are you mindful about what they may have going on? Are you self-aware? What's your tone like? What's your ask? Is it respectful? Is it pleasant? And will it be received well? You see, even when having to deliver not so great news, we can be tactful in our approach to have a better chance at getting what we want or need out of that conversation. Soft skills are just as important as all of the book smarts. And impressions are everything. So showing up with the right approach is the golden ticket. In that initial role as a managing broker, after many months of working hard to secure a stable and reliable foundation for my agents, we got hit with another major plot twist. The brokerage that we were with had been bought out by a nationwide big box brand, and in an instant, the locally strong 25-year reputation of that brokerage was retired and replaced with new ownership and new leadership along with new protocols and processes. Talk about rocking the boat. Everything that I was trained to do with that first brokerage totally went out the window. But it's not about what happens to you, it's about how you react. So I decided to stick with it. And I went to work to steady the ship and keep agents focused on the important matters of business at hand. I had to take the time to sort through the expectations of the new company and come up with ways to communicate and promote confidence among my agents. Maintaining focus on ways we were going to be adaptable in order to succeed through the changes. I worked hard to eliminate uncertainty and to remain on task with what was within our control. Lots of effort went into minimizing the chatter of resistance, confusion, and disconnect. And the outcome was mission accomplished and back to smooth sailing for the team. The takeaway, you can't control the wind, but you can always adjust your sails. My resilience was strengthened each time I made the choice to dig in, overcoming many unknowns and uncertainties, and trusting myself to figure things out. Being willing to have tough, uncomfortable conversations, many times in which I thought I would die, but I didn't. And I walked away each time with more confidence in myself, my choices, and my abilities. Fast forward a ways ahead. The next plot twist. After many years of Dylan laying the groundwork, I made a big personal choice to jump ship and change brokerages. Thank you, Dylan, for being persistent, for checking in from time to time and letting me know that when I was ready to make the change, you'd be there to help. One of the best decisions that I've made. I just had to do it in my own timing. But once I made that decision and I sorted through the details and I came up with my game plan, I followed through earnestly. And I kept putting one foot in front of the other, and I stepped away from that managing broker position that I was with a different company, and I left it for a new brokerage and a better position that better suited my wants and needs. I'm blessed to get to work with a fantastic team of brokers, to support an army of successful agents. And together, we work really hard to set the bar of professionalism and hard work at a high level. Give yourselves a round of applause, agents. You guys are amazing. Amazing. And all of this is possible and sustained in a positive way through the leadership and direction of a brokerage that I'm so proud to work with. But when I initially made that move, I was taking on a new role. I was getting on board with new team players, and I had a new playbook to learn. My day-to-day workflow completely changed, going from working with agents in person, being present daily, to a whole new framework of working fully remotely. So again, more adapting to stay relevant. I took it as an opportunity for success and to show up for success. Implementing the same solid principles and practices to offer agents sound guidance and direction, sharing tips and tactics to prevail in daily business dealings, like leveraging useful techniques of contrasting and anchoring, to mastering creative and collaborative negotiating skills, and proactively coming up with strategies and solutions for favorable outcomes. Importantly, I focused on building relationships with agents one conversation at a time, learning who they are, who each of you are, right, based on your individual qualities, rather than just seeing a name on a list. For me, seeing an agent's wins and their aha moments, like when the dots connect and things make sense, has always been very rewarding. and that's my why for doing what I do. I love contributing in meaningful ways to an agent's wins and successes, sometimes when that just means that they'll show up again for themselves tomorrow. Today, my joy comes in my role as a mentor, coach, and educator. And most of what I do daily is help agents to figure out where they're at, where they're trying to go, and then working together to come up with an action plan to get there. Sharing tools and resources from a vast range of stories and experiences that I've gathered over the past 18 years. Helping others to produce better results using both intellect and intuition. Training agents to leverage mind share to capture market share, and that sometimes it's better to be happy than to be right. I've had a really blessed journey with lots of wins and, of course, some setbacks. But I've always preferred to focus on the positives rather than the negatives. Not allowing setbacks to take me too far off track, yet always taking a pause to reflect and learn from those lessons when they do come up. My story of success has a lot to do with mindset and perspective, what I choose to focus on and what I choose to tune out. Here's a couple of lessons that I've learned and embraced along my journey. Starting with an appreciation for how mastery is so valuable and important as we develop excellence and ascend in our roles. I'll describe it as when you're able to embody and understand your craft in a dynamic way. Developing sage philosophies and practices like using Jedi ninja moves. And in action, that looks like being able to communicate and maneuver confidently, fluidly, and with accuracy. The ability to be effective and efficient in greater ways. Knowing what questions to ask when, and knowing when to deploy which strategy for success. Next, understanding the importance of who you surround yourself with. Make it a point to be around good company and associates who you can learn from and grow with. Those who are courageous, those who are willing to take risk, and protect your positive reputation because you never know how it'll affect future possibilities. I've also learned firsthand that being a giver first, without having an expectation of getting something in return, is priceless currency as we pay our dues along the way. What that can look like is simply asking the question, what can I help with? And then being willing to follow through. For me, asking that question, what can I help with, has enhanced my value in exponential ways and opened doors for building relationships that have become invaluable. And with gratitude, I've learned that the value of our knowledge multiplies when we share what we know with others. I look at success as a process and not just an outcome. It's who I've been able to become, the personal character that I've developed, and staying the course even when things get tough, which in real estate happens often. I've learned that every hard conversation I've had and every challenge I've faced, and every time I decided to try something new and scary, I was actually moving forward. I was moving ahead in the game of life, where the only thing that's constant is change. Success for me has been about becoming a better version of myself, continuing to be a dreamer, seeing the gold that lies behind obstacles, and taking advantage of ways that I can build more within. As our industry embarks on a new era, I implore you, stay courageous, be energetic and enthusiastic, stay focused and driven, and keep disenchantment and discouragement at bay. Invest the time to embrace the changes in your business practice. I challenge you to expand your goals and reach for more. Learn to paint with new colors. Learn to play a new tune and have fun with it. Hold yourself accountable and just do your best. Please hold this next one at heart. Your inner strength and self-belief are your greatest assets. And it's up to you to prioritize your success. knowing what's ahead, I want to share something that I remind myself of often, that each day we get 2 opportunities to make choices and changes. We get to decide how we're going to show up for ourselves and others and our careers. And through the series of choices and changes that we make, we develop into the person that we'll be tomorrow. And these choices and changes can lead to many possibilities and opportunities if we're open to it. And that's something I feel like we can all be inspired by and excited about. I believe when we can equip and empower others to be more capable, it's a way for us to make the world a little better. Wrapping this up, here's what's important. Along my journey, I've placed a high value on ROI, and not with the expectation of return on investment, no, but with an emphasis on ripple of impact. The impact on others around me, my industry, and my community. Always striving not just to make a living, but to make a difference. Thank you, everyone. Last thing. Thank you. I'm excited to share about a new venture that I've recently launched with Dylan's support. This opportunity is designed to benefit agents working with buyers by putting more money in your pocket sooner. If you're curious and you want to find out more, please check out the QR codes, and I'd love to connect with you. And last thing, today we have someone in our audience who decided to spend his birthday here at the Build convention. Happy birthday, Sebastian. Thank you all. Aloha.
Right on. So anyway, you guys, one more time for Kamalani.
Yes, give it up.
She's amazing. We're so lucky to have that one.
I know, she was amazing.
Right? So exciting. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the next person. You guys, nobody leave right now because this person has an audience of 5 million, okay? I don't know how many influencers you know, but you're about to know another one. It's the only one I know. He has 1 billion views on one of his videos last year. 1 billion, you guys. Can you imagine that? 1 billion. Okay, he's also a best-selling author, and he's been featured on ABC, NBC, People, Fox, okay? So what I'm saying is, you guys might want to listen. He might have something worth listening to. So he has 1,000 students, over 1,000 students, all 50 states, 23 countries. You guys, he is current. What I mean by that, this has all happened in the last about year and a half because he is current. He is what you guys need to know now. And we are so lucky that he came all the way here from North Carolina. So what I want you guys to do is look up here at this screen and turn the lights down. Yeah.
Bill has become the most sought-after AI instructor.
It really is incredible what you could accomplish today in such little time.
I feel incredibly honored.
The guy is just the real deal.
Take a lot of notes. Welcome my friend Phil Stringer.
Give it up for Phil Stringer.
All right, how we feeling? How we feeling? Build Hawaii. Man, this is such an honor to be here. Really quick, do something for me. This is just for fun. Turn to your neighbor, and first thing that pops in your mind, tell him a compliment. Go. Go, turn to your neighbor. Go ahead. Okay, now turn to the other person that you didn't choose first and say, I'm sorry for not picking you first. You're clearly not my favorite, but you have a nice smile as a consolation prize. Now, take a second just to look around the room and try and catch as many faces as you can. Just as many faces. Look at all these people, beautiful people, wonderful smiles. We're here at Build Hawaii. Right? Successful agents. You guys are the top, right? Catch as many faces as you possibly can. All right. Now, every single person in this entire room is facing a battle that you don't know about. Every single one. Now, it's impossible to know all the battles, right? But you can change people's lives by just being kind. You can change someone's life with a smile. You can change someone's life with a word. And we don't know what people are facing, but some of the happiest faces hide the hardest battles. And you have no idea what people are going through. March 17th, 2022. It was 783 days ago. My entire life changed. And I lost basically everything in my entire life. Now, I had a insane childhood, and that's for another time. I might hit a couple things of that, but I essentially grew up, and I grew up in a cult. And please, this is very, very private, so if you're recording, let's not record. You can take photos, but for this stuff, it's so private that I want to keep this off of social media. I grew up in a cult. Part of the cult was that we could only read certain things, right? It had to be approved. Certain readings, we couldn't watch TV, we couldn't even hang out with friends, we couldn't leave the house because they didn't want us to be influenced by the world, right? Part of that meant we could not read curriculum, so we were homeschooled, but they submitted fake grades to the state, and they didn't teach us. So Nolly, when I hear about your education story earlier, that hit home to me because I'm a 13-year-old kid, and I knew that I wanted to do something. I'm an achiever, and so I said, look, I really, really want to succeed in life, and I know that I have to go to school to do that. That's what I'm thinking as a kid. So I went to my parents, and I said, can you buy me my 8th grade books? I promise I'll teach myself. You don't have to do it. Like, I'll quiz myself. I'll do it all. And they said no. So I was like, okay, what can I do? So I was at Sam's Club, and I'm from North Carolina, so North Carolina Tar Heels College. That's Michael Jordan's alma mater, right? Dean Smith was the college basketball coach of the Tar Heels. He was Michael Jordan's coach. And I'm at Sam's Club as a 13-year-old kid, and there's a sign that says, this Saturday, Dean Smith's going to be here to sign his new book called The Carolina Way. And I thought, okay, let me borrow some money from my older sisters. I have 3 older sisters. And I got as much money from them as I could, and I said, I promise I'll pay you back next week. And I bought 4 of those books. And on Saturday, I went back to Sam's Club, and I waited in line. I got them signed, and I kept 1 for myself, and I sold the other 3 on a brand new website called eBay.com. Made enough money to buy my 8th grade books. I hid it behind my parents' back. I taught myself. I quizzed myself. And I thought, okay, I got to figure out another way to make money, right? And so I started walking to garage sales. I would buy things, resell them, turned into an arbitrage business, a nationwide network that I had created. I made over 6 figures on eBay by the time I was 16 years old, moved out. Yeah? Come on, let's go. Paid someone cash under the table for a condo just so I could get out, and I taught myself all throughout high school. I went to college, and I had to beg them at UNCG to let me into the university because they said, dude, your transcript's it's an Excel spreadsheet that you put together. I said, well, yeah, because I taught myself, okay? They're like, we can't let you in. And so I begged them. I said, look, I will be the best student on campus. Just give me 1 semester as a shot. So they ended up calling me. They said, hey, we're going to give you 1 semester. But if you're not great, you're out. The very first college class that I had was the first teacher I had in my life. And I was so scared to death. My very first exam, I was shaking. I got a 53 because I was so nervous. And after I got that 53, I said, you know what? I'm going to commit every moment that I can to being the best student possible for the next 4 years. I graduated valedictorian, right? And so fast forward to March 17, 2022, I had it all. I had an amazing job. I had a wife, 3 beautiful kids. And that night I lost everything when my wife at the time said she needed space. And I said, okay, how much space? She had kicked me out before. When she gets mad, that kind of happened. And she said, maybe a day, maybe a week, I don't know, maybe a month. I just need time. I said, okay. This had happened before. So I packed my backpack, that backpack right there, and I took it with me. And I took it with me, and I slept in my car, figuring I would be back the next day like it always happened. The next day, I texted her. I was like, how we feeling? Nothing. The day after that, I texted her, hey, what's going on? Are you feeling okay? No response. I go back to my house because I needed to get clothes, and the doors, the locks had been changed. To this day, I still haven't been back inside of my house. I don't have any of my possessions from March 17th, 2022. I literally have that backpack, and I had to buy everything new. I have a 2-year-old daughter. I have an 8-year-old daughter who just turned 8 May 3rd, a few days ago, 5 days ago. 8 years old, and then a 5-year-old son. But with the 2-year-old daughter, you can tell 783 days ago, I have never once gotten to tuck her in, never once got to pray over her, read her a bedtime story. I've spent the last 783 days battling for time with my kids because North Carolina has very interesting laws where if there's no court-ordered custody, custody is possession. So if you have the kids in your possession, you have 100% custody, you don't ever have to give them to the other person until there's a court order. And I've been fighting for that court order for 783 days. So I lost everything literally in a moment, and I didn't even know that I was losing it on March 16th. I had no clue. And I'm sitting in my car on March 17th, and I'm like, what is going on? Sleeping in my car, devastated. And there was an ad on Facebook for Build24. This is what it was.
Emotion comes from motion. Because the way you move determines the way you feel, and most of us don't move anymore.
That was the ad on Facebook, and I remember seeing that, and I was so depressed. I had just lost everything in my entire life, and I thought, if I can make it to August 25th when Tony speaks, that's the date I'm going to shoot for, and I lived for that day. I wanted to call it quits. I wanted to commit suicide. I had lost everything in a moment, and it was so overwhelming and so dark. That's the only thing on my phone from March 17th was that video because I saved it to my camera roll, and I watched it, and I said, I just need to make it to August 25th and hear Tony speak, right? So emotion comes from motion. The way you move determines the way you feel, and most of us don't move anymore, is what he said. I knew I had to move. I had to take action. I had to figure out a way to get out of my rut and make it to August 25th. So I bought my ticket. I had no money because I've still paid for everything of her. Still to this day, I pay for all of their bills. All of my money has been going to pay towards, their house. We had a 4,400 square foot beautiful home, her car, her everything. I lost half of my money because she took her salary. She has a full-time job, and my expenses doubled. So then I had to open up credit cards, and I put the Build ticket on a credit card because I knew I had to go. And I started putting everything on credit cards. Well, you can only do that for so long. I started putting my rent on a credit card because that's the only way I could pay for it. All of my money from my paycheck was going to her life. And I'm like, man, I don't know how long I can do this, but I need to make it to August 25th. June 20th, 2022, this was 688 days ago. Did anyone go to Shareholders 2 years ago in Orlando? Anyone there? Okay, so EXP had Shareholders in Orlando. June 20th, 2022, and at 8 p.m. before the event, someone calls me out of an act of kindness, and they said, hey, I can't go anymore. I want you to have my ticket. I couldn't afford it. There's no way I would have been able to go. But I said, okay, I think I need to be there. So out of that act of kindness, I couldn't afford a plane ticket, so I drove 600 miles, right? And I stayed at the cheapest motel I could find, $29. I woke up with cockroaches and bed bugs. And I had brought my suitcase in with the only stuff that I had in life, right? Because I had to buy all new things. So now I'm on the way to Shareholders, and I basically had a couple pairs of clothes that I hadn't brought into the motel that was in my car, and that's all I had. I'm like, great, I basically just lost everything I owned again, right? And so I go to shareholders, and nobody knew this, but I was sleeping in the parking lot of the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel because I couldn't afford the hotel. But I knew I had to take action and move and go. And so this was the first time that I met Brent Gove, and we took a selfie. That's the moment right there. But again, some of the happiest faces hide the hardest battles. He had no idea, obviously, what I was going through. And I ran into someone there, and I kind of met a couple people, and I told them at shareholders, I said, guys, I'm speaking at this event next year. And they're like, oh, cute. That's cute, little buddy, right? And so did anyone, for those of you who went to shareholders, we rented out Universal, the whole thing, right? So I'm waiting in line. These people that I met, I'm waiting in line to go with them, and they never showed. And so the last bus is leaving. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to go. So I was the last person in line to take the last bus to Universal, and there was a person right in front of me, and she looks at me and she goes, are you going to Universal alone? Where's your friends? I said, I don't know. They said they were going to be here. I can't find them, whatever. So yeah, I'm going to go alone. And she was like, well, you can't do that. She said, you're going to be with our group. I was like, okay, again, an act of kindness, right? She didn't have to do that. She didn't know me from anyone. So we get to Universal. I didn't know her friend group was like Jay Kinder, Michael Reese, Albie Stasek, John Kitchens, like these massive people in EXP, and I didn't know a soul. So again, out of an act of kindness, they kind of took me under their wing and said, yeah, you're hanging out with us. You're part of us, which made connections for me, of course. So now I make it to August 25th. This was the day that I was living for. This day saved my life, right? And I made it there, and I met Brent Gove again for the second time, and that's it right there, right? And I didn't even have enough money to buy a shirt that could button up all the way. No, I'm just kidding. I guess that still to this day, right? So I met Brent Gove again for the second time, and I'm sitting there at Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins said, write down something that would absolutely change your life if you just did it. So I wrote it down in my notes, and he said, now turn to the person next to you and share it. So I turned to the person next. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know anyone at that conference, and I said, I want to hire a personal trainer. I need to get my fitness back because I'm in such a dark place. I was going home right after work and going to bed because I didn't want to live. I said, I just need something. And so the guy turns to me and said, well, you're probably just saying that again. You're not going to do anything about it. I was like, no, I'm going to do something about it. He goes, okay, then call this guy. That was John Tsai, the president of EXP Canada, by the way. And he had me call his fitness coach, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna do everything that I can, and which really saved my life too, because just the fact of like meal prepping and doing something gave me something to do, and it got me out of that depression. Now, that was 622 days ago. It's been 622 days since I've turned on a TV. Because I'm flying home from Dallas to North Carolina, and I remember having a thought. I said, this AI thing is going to get really big. I have friends in the tech industry. And I said, and real estate agents aren't going to know how to use AI because they don't know what to ask and they don't know how to ask it. And I said, if I can solve those two problems for them, I can change the industry. And so on that flight, I started writing out prompts, testing them, perfecting them, going back and forth, and I became obsessed with writing prompts for AI that would change real estate agents' career. And I ended up creating this entire program, right? So, April 19th, 2023, this is 385 days ago, a little over a year ago. A friend, not in real estate, said, dude, you need to get your butt out to Hollywood, and you just need something, dude. You're not good. We need to reset you. I said, dude, I can't afford a flight. I can't afford a hotel. I have no money. And he said, I'm paying for all of it. Just get yourself to Hollywood, and I want to talk with you. I was like, all right. So I flew to Hollywood. He paid for everything, just to be kind, an act of kindness. And he sat me down, and he said, I want you to write out a list of things from April 19th until December 31st. And at December 31st, I want you to write down the goals that you feel like are absolutely impossible. I said, okay. This is that screenshot. April 19th to December 31st. By January 1st, I wanted to buy a new car that didn't break down all the time. I wanted a Genesis GV70. Gym 5 days a week. Travel 6 times to speak at events helping agents with AI. And 10 coaching clients in my AI Academy. That was what I felt like was absolutely impossible. So now, May 18th, 2023, this is 356 days ago. Not even a year ago, guys. And I have these dates here to show you how quickly your life can change. This was not even a year ago. This was shareholders. If you were at shareholders last year, raise your hand or make some noise. Yeah, all right. This is what happened. You guys remember how they did the voting thing where you could vote for the speaker you wanted last year? Yeah. So, an act of kindness, a few friends were like, you're speaking and we're voting until it happens. Voted. I threw it out on social media. Social media voted. I ended up getting the #1 amount of votes in EXP. And EXP's like, who are you? Right? Like, and what are you talking about? AI, what? So I got like 20 minutes on the stage, right, to talk about AI. And this is what happened after that.
Okay, here's the bottom line. I've been doing this 27 years, sold over 5,000 homes. I've been to dozens and dozens, if not 100 real estate. Phil did a talk on the AI agent with ChatGPT. Boom! Best thing I've ever seen in 27 years of real estate. I've been to Mega Camp, Family Union, Remax's Convention, Craig Proctor, Brian Buffini, Joe Stump, Mike Berry, Howard Brent, Star Power, NAEA, everything. Best talk I've ever heard. I'm still vibrating, man. Go check out Phil, attend his class. Super good. Thanks.
So, thank you. So after that, I walked down to the pool, and a big real estate coach who everyone knows came up to me, and they were like, "You're Phil Stringer." And I was like, yeah, what? And she was like, "I have heard all about you. I wasn't in your session, but you're the talk of the conference." She said, "I keep hearing your name. What did you do?" So I told her. She gave me her phone number, and I thought I'd never hear from her again. The very next day after shareholders, on Monday, I get a call from her. And I'm like, what on earth? And she says, "What are you doing?" In 20 minutes. And I was like, "I've got our team meeting. Why?" She goes, "Cancel it. I've got 400 agents that I talk to on Mondays. I woke up feeling sick." And I said, "Okay." She said, "I just want you to do your AI thing. Can you do an hour of AI?" I said, "Yeah." At that point, she didn't know this. I was 10 days away from being evicted and homeless. I had put everything on credit cards. I maxed out all the credit cards. I had no more credit limit, and I didn't know how I was going to make money in the next 10 days. And so I said, "Yeah, I'll do it if you let me pitch my AI Academy." I didn't have one. She goes, "Okay, how much is it?" I said, $1,200. That was my rent. So I made a slide very quickly, and it was like, all right, 12-week program, $1,200, here we go. If I could just get one, then I could live another 30 days. So I get off that call, it was an hour call, and I had my phone on DND because I didn't want to be, distracted. Get off that call, and I look at my phone, and I had enough money to pay rent for the next 17 years. So I want to take you through my goals that I had and tell you where I ended up on January 1st. Buy a new car that doesn't break down all the time, preferably a Genesis GV70. There's my baby. Let's go. Gym 5 days a week. Clearly, look at me. Travel 6 times to speak at events, helping agents with AI. 72 live speaking events last year, helping agents with AI from April until the end of the year. Over 500, by the way, between live and virtual, not even a year. It's been insane, and I'm tired. 10 clients in the AI Academy. Didn't quite hit that, but we did get 750, which now it's over 1,000. Clients in all 50 states and 23 countries, right? We help agents use AI to change their business. Now, I've had a lot of people say, "You've built a multi-7-figure business in less than a year. You're so lucky." Look, it's been 2 years almost, since my life has changed. 783 days. And my luck is 622 days of not turning on a TV, working really, really hard and deciding, you know what, I'm going to take massive action, and instead of going home and being depressed and trying to go to bed because I don't want to live, I'm going to turn that energy into something positive, and I'm going to fight for my why, right? I took massive action like my life depended on it. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to wait until your back is up against the wall to take action like your back is up against the wall. A lot of times we wait, but that's where the magic happens. When you take massive action like you have no other choice, that's where you win. But we don't have to wait until we have no other choice to act like we have no other choice, right? So success isn't found in never failing, but in rising stronger when you do. Become very clear on what your why is, and then take massive action like your why depends on it. And I'm going to show you my why right there. I want to give you guys, and I know I'm out of time, I'm going to take 1 minute if that's cool with you. I want to give you guys a bunch of AI value, and I'm not going to go through it, but I feel badly just telling my story because I know you guys want some AI stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got some AI stuff for ChatGPT. Raise your hand if you're using ChatGPT. Yes? Okay. How many of you would like a system to help you do agent attraction with ChatGPT? Would that be helpful? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a year's worth of customized email newsletters. I'm not going to go through it because I'm out of time, but I'm going to give it to you. Okay? So I had a 62% email open rate. Global average is 21.33. I know what I'm doing with this stuff, so just follow this process. Step one, and you guys are going to get this, so you can take pictures, but I have a QR code where you can copy and paste it. Step one is a prompt that you copy and paste, and you're crafting your unique value proposition. If you don't know it, do this, and it will be amazing. Step two is creating 100 content ideas tailored to agents looking for growth, support, and success. It will literally list out, based on your UVP, 100 content ideas for agents that are looking for growth, support, and success, which are the ones you want to attract. Step three is creating a complete agent attraction email, newsletter, content calendar. So now you take those 100 ideas, you get them in a calendar. And then step four is generating customized, high-value email newsletters specifically for agent attraction. You go through this process, and you're going to get a year's worth of agent attraction emails specific to your UVP, your market, your target audience. Would that be helpful for you today? Yes. All right. So I normally sell this stuff because I have 5 different categories that can help you. I can do a year's worth of email newsletters. I can do a year's worth of short-form videos for TikToks and Instagram Reels for agent attraction, a year's worth of YouTube long-form, a year's worth of blogs, and a year's worth of paid ads. All 5 of them. Now, if you were to pay someone to create a year's worth of content in all 5 of those categories, it would be a full-time job. Probably what, 40, 50 grand at least? Yeah. What if you were to do a VA? It would still be a cheap VA, 15 grand to get all of that done, which is why I would not bat an eye at charging you $9,997. But because this event means so much to me, Build literally changed my life and saved me. I want to give you guys a discount on these 5 categories because I believe in the mission here, and I want you to attract agents. So I'm not going to charge you $9,997. I'm going to charge you an act of kindness. If you do something kind for someone this week, then I'm going to give you all of this for free. Is that fair? All right. There you go. Scan the code. If you hate scanning codes, then just go to philstringer.com/Hawaii build, and you will have the PDF. It's like a 47-page PDF. There's a ton of really, really good value in there. I hope that this was helpful. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was so good. What a great story, isn't it? I mean,
Survival of the fittest, right? Life is about surviving sometimes. And so we push through and make it happen. Thank you, Phil. Again, give it up one more time for Phil. God, what a story. What a story. Holy shit. All right, well, it doesn't stop there. Our next speaker, actually, first time we saw her was at Build in Texas, and she was on stage.
She was like almost my favorite
Yeah,
speaker.
me too. And her accent was kind of like threw us off because we're in the back of the room, like, who is that? But she comes off with this great personality of like, whatever, like the matter of fact. I can't understand why you guys aren't thinking this way. This is how she talks. We love her for that. She's the #1 agent in Ohio. She's a mother of 5. She's a professional athlete, though. She trained for the Olympics. This is an amazing individual with huge discipline. huge discipline, and she's proven this over time and time again in her business, and now with Build24 she's even done it even more. So we're super excited to hear from Monica DeRusso from Ohio. Give it up.
Woo! Hello, everyone. How do you go after Phil? We should have given him another 20 minutes to cover ChatGTP for all of us, don't you think? It was amazing. I am so blessed to be with all of you on this beautiful island. So, being a professional athlete, I'm gonna talk about running your real estate race. For a brief moment, close your eyes and imagine toddler learning how to walk. And baby takes baby steps, and baby fails. And baby gets up, and baby fails again. And so it is in your real estate life. You get licensed, and you get started, and you get up, and you fail. And you get up, and you fail. Yet 50% of real estate agents quit after 2 years. Can you imagine 50% of toddlers will quit? Half of the world will be crawling today. Why do we quit and stay consistent and take your real estate life to the next level? What is it that makes that marginal difference between the top and the rest? The top and people who quit. When I got my real estate license 19 years ago, everybody asked me to quit. My first year, I made amazing $1,200. And my husband, my family, everybody asked me to quit because obviously I was costing my family money instead of making money. And so I thought, well, I just got started. Let's keep going. First year, I sold one house, made $1,200. Second year, I sold 5, and then 35, and then 75, and then 100, and then 128. And I became the #1 RE/MAX agent in state of Ohio, and then became #1 EXP agent in state of Ohio for over 12 years. So what is it that's that marginal difference between the top and the rest? Many of you know Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan decided to become a professional basketball player, he did not make his high school basketball team. Yet he didn't quit. He went back to hard work. He worked every day, speed, agility, dribbling, shooting. He just worked and he outworked everybody. Can you imagine Michael Jordan would quit? We would never have Michael Jordan as we have him today. When we get our real estate license, majority of people get licensed because they assume you're gonna have financial freedom and freedom of your time. Little did you know, when you become real estate agent, you work 7 days a week, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. You work Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Easter, you name it, you work on it. As professional athlete in my previous life, when you train 7 days a week, twice a day, every day. It becomes your calling, your devotion. All you think about is that ultimate goal of making it happen and going to the top. You stay focused on your prize and you stay consistent. You work despite falling. You work despite injuries. You just work on it to get to the top level. Yet as real estate agents, we quit. You start YouTube videos for 11 months, it doesn't work, you quit. You start new marketing, it doesn't work, you quit. If you just stay in it for a little longer, I promise you, you would make it. Let's talk about perseverance and consistency. When I first got my license 19 years ago, for first 3 years, I did direct marketing mailers to 3 neighborhoods, total of about 1,000 households. And for 3 years, I would send out just sold, just listed, calendars, market updates, and for 3 years, nobody called. Not a single listing, not a single buyer, not a single referral, nothing for 3 years. And after 3 years, I became the #1 listing agent in that neighborhood. And everybody would say, oh, it's so easy for you. You're so natural. You know everybody. I'm like, excuse me? I earned it for 3 years of target mailers to these neighborhoods. Many of you know the fastest man alive, Usain Bolt. He runs 100-meter dash, and he will sprint in about 9:51 for 100 meters. And so many times he gets paid $10 million for less than 10 seconds of his race. And people will complain, that's not fair. It's less than 10 seconds to make that amount of money. Yet, everybody forgets it took 20 years of hard work and consistency and mastering his art to get to that level. Many of you heard of Ed Millett. I love his book, One More. Just like Ed Millett suggests, just do one more. Real estate agents, you know, you can do open house every Sunday, but how many of you do 2 open houses on Sunday instead of just 1? Are you willing to do one more? Do one more cold calling, to do one more open house? And if you do 2 on Sunday, why don't you do one more on Saturday? What is that marginal difference between you and the rest? Are you willing to go to the next level? When I trained in my previous life, my coach challenged me. He would ask me every week, Monica, what are you willing to give up to go up? Think about it. What are you willing to give up every week to go up to the next level? Many of us indulge on Netflix, movie, happy hour, you name it. If you can just take one thing you're willing to give up, I promise you, your business is gonna go up. Let's talk about attitude. This is my favorite thing because so many of real estate agents sound like ER in Pooh Bear movie. When you go to social events, everybody goes, how is a real estate business? I don't know. I'm not gonna make it. There's no houses to sell. Interest is high. We have a pending lawsuit. Would you ever hire ER to become your real estate agent? Yet we assume with that attitude we're gonna win business. In 2008 and 9, when economy crashed, my business doubled. And I think the number one reason I doubled my business because I was positive. I would go on listing appointments and find solutions for these sellers who were upside down. And I believe in my heart it's our job to provide solutions to buyers, to bring value, because if you truly bring value to your clients, they're gonna pay you buyer's compensation, they're not gonna question, yet we all walking around this real estate world like ER in a Pooh Bear movie. When professional athlete runs the race, you get on the blocks, and you have a starting line, everybody is equal. Everybody on that starting line is equal. And the difference between the one that wins at the finish line is how that runner detaches him or herself from outside noise and distraction. When the sprinter gets in the blocks, first 3 steps of the race matter the most. And the reason being because it helps you to get momentum. And during these first 3 steps, if you can stay focused on your race, instead of watching what's happening in the lane next to you or who is screaming in the stands, you get distracted and the difference is so marginal, it will cost you the race. So it is with your real estate race. When you get in the blogs in January, you are hoping to win that race. Yet March comes or May comes, and you're so distracted with the lawsuit, high interest rate, lack of inventory, you forget what you're supposed to be doing to win your race. When you join EXP, I believe you go drafted to NBA team, the best of the best. EXP is your Olympic support team that can help you win the race. EXP provides you with technology, people, coaches, marketing, everything you need. Just like Michael Jordan, just like Usain Bolt, just like all the top professional athletes in the world, EXP has it all for you. But EXP cannot run that race for you. So it's up to you to win or not to make it happen. Love you all. Cheers.
Woo! Thank you, Monica. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you again. Give it up for Monica DeRusso. Track and field Olympican right there. All righty. Our next speaker, while waiting for Shireen, come on, my dear.
That was so fast.
That was so fast. I love it. It's all you.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. She was an Olympic. That's why. She's fast.
She's fast.
She's fast. She's fast. Yeah. Trey. We need to help you with that one?
I'm juggling a few things.
That's like Shireen. All right. Our next speaker, Trey. Oh, wow. You got me on this one now, too, because it was yours. You know what? Trey is just an amazing
Okay,
dude.
here's the deal. I saw Trey speak the last function I was at, and I loved it so much. Actually, it was in Cabo. And I loved his speech. I was thinking about us doing Build here. And out of all, I listened to all these wonderful speakers in Cabo. And this one, Trey just spoke to me, and I was like, we need him in Hawaii. And I ran down and I attacked him when he tried to walk off the stage, and he said yes, he would come all the way to Hawaii and speak for us. And now you guys are going to get to hear from Trey. So here we go.
Yeah,
Where did he go?
Funny part is that she calls me on the phone, like literally late at night, and says, we got to get this guy. We got to get this guy. Trey's going to come speak at Build. And so here we are. Here we are. Give it up for Trey Fullen, everyone.
Trey. Here, wait, Trey.
What's up, everybody? Aloha. All right, can we stand up for a second? I know it's a little bit later in the day. Stretch the legs a little bit. I want to do something with you guys, if you could, please. So I'm going to tell you about a mentor who got me into real estate. And this community is all about the stock market. In the community, we love to say, let's go. And I found out that there's an island phrase for that. And I'm stoked, and I want to do it together. It's chi-hu, right? Is that right? All right, hang on. Let me get the video going. And I want to hear your best chi-hu like you just surfed the best wave of your life. You guys going to help me out with that? All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys. Isn't it crazy all the things that had to happen, that we had to go through for all of us to be right here in this room at this very moment together? You know, I feel very blessed to be here in Hawaii. It's my first time here. I'm a sucker for blue water, so I'm already in love. I fell in love as I was coming in on the plane, and we did the landing right there. But this quote right here means a lot. Because what if this moment right here today, as you sit in this room, is the exact moment for which you were created? You know, I truly believe we are always where we're supposed to be. Everything happens for a reason, and it's all a culmination to put us in the position for us to step into the most beautiful, the most developed version of ourselves. So my name is Trey Fullen. I'm originally born and raised out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I grew up not in real estate. I grew up a baseball guy. Love baseball. I don't think anybody popped out of the womb necessarily wanting to be a real estate agent. But now today, inside of EXP, I'm one of the top 50 influencers out of 90,000 agents. I do run an organization inside of EXP called The Herd. We also have a team called The Herd Elite, which covers 3 countries today, about 31 states in the United States. I'm also a co-founder of a DoD-approved military organization called Alpha Mike Foxtrot. A lot of military men and women here on the island, so we appreciate their service. We help them get into real estate as well. I feel like it's the least we could do based on the sacrifice that they made for us. But I don't want to talk about me. I will tell you my story, but I want to introduce you to somebody else. That's my buddy right there, Chipper. So speaking of baseball, I was a huge Atlanta Braves fan. Grew up watching Chipper Jones. That was my favorite player. And I remember in high school, I was on the way down to an Atlanta Braves game for my birthday. And my parents had a gift for me. They said, hey, on the ride home, we got this gift. They handed it to me, and it was a voucher to go get my pilot's license. And if you guys know anything about me, I love jumping on a plane. I love flying around the world, but I wanted a dog more. And that's where Chipper walked into my life, and he showed me over the years how to love bigger, how to believe bigger, really unconditional love. You know, I've found that I'm a lover, I'm a dreamer. That's how I was born at heart. I love the Hawaiian culture. I feel like you guys can resonate with that. But I've also found that most people will let you down. And there's only 2 people that won't. It's God and dogs. They will always love you unconditionally. You could leave your dog in the trunk for a couple of hours and come back, and your dog will be so excited to see you, give you kisses all over your face. You try that with your wife or your girlfriend. I don't advise it. Probably will not work out as well for you. But kind of back to my story, after my baseball career was over playing, I was seeking something. I was in a season where I was looking for something that could get me as excited and as passionate as baseball could. I don't know if I'll ever necessarily find that, but I did find a mentor during that time frame. And that mentor I went to learn the stock market from. And in the first week of knowing this guy, he tells me, Trey, you have to go get your real estate license. And I was burnt out on sales. I've done everything under the sun sales. And thank God I listened to him, because it's turned into one of the biggest blessings I've ever had in my life. And I encourage you guys to seek whatever it is that you're looking for. If you seek, you will find it. If you seek purpose, you will step into that sooner or later. And I want to introduce you to this guy, because this can help you with that. Does anybody know who this is? This is Earl Nightingale. So pull out your phones or your notes. I want you to write this down right now. If you take nothing else away from what I say today, find 30 minutes before you go to sleep tonight and go on YouTube, type in Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. He talks about a few things in there. He really talks about the problem with man is that they do not think. If you pulled a man or a woman out of a job, maybe they're working at Amazon, maybe they're a corporate executive, maybe they're a real estate agent, and you ask them, hey, if you never had to go to work ever again in your life, you achieve financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, you could do anything you wanted to in the world, what would you do? You know what the number one answer is? This is sad. I don't know. Why do we not know? It's because we haven't spent time thinking about it. So spend time thinking about that. You know, he defines success in the best way I've ever heard too. It's the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. It doesn't mean that you climb the top of Diamond Head or Cocoa Head, which we did my first day here too. That's a workout. But if you're just climbing up, you know, one of those steps every day, if you're just progressing towards the thing that you yourself decided you wanted to do, then that is success. And he talks about the law of attraction too. Chipper's trying to chase something there. Don't chase, always attract. And if you turn on vulnerability, you're going to turn on your magnet. People will only get as vulnerable with you as you're willing to get with them. All right, your testimony, somebody needs to hear that. So get vulnerable with that. You're given that story for a reason. And as you turn that magnet on, magnets do two things, right? Magnets pull things in closer to you. They attract them in. They also push things away. I'm here to tell you that both of those things are positive. As you get more vulnerable, as you turn that magnet on, you are going to attract some of the best people you've ever met into your life, because they're going to be just like you. They're going to like you for who you actually are. Your authenticity is the highest level of vibration that you can put out, and you're also going to repel some people away. Maybe some people you really love, and that's hard, but it is a very positive thing as well, too. Now, this is the tough one. People get this backwards all the time. Commitment comes before opportunity, not the other way around. You cannot sit back and say, you know what, when the sun comes out, when the double rainbow hits, when I got the money, when I got the time, once I get to this location, tomorrow, next year, whatever, then I'll step into that thing. You first have to make the commitment, and you got to do it now. Commitment has nothing to do with convenience. It might be at the most inconvenient time that you make that commitment. But once you do, watch every single door of opportunity open up for you. I truly believe if you pray and you ask God, hey, please give me this in my life, you know what he's going to say? Yeah, okay. But I need you to drop everything you're holding on to, take a 180-degree turn, and walk in this direction with zero proof that it's going to work out. You're not going to have the evidence, but if you walk on faith, like I said, those things will come through, and God will support what you're supposed to be doing. If you know you're supposed to be doing something and you're not today, change that. Your husband, your wife, your kids, they depend on it. So when I made the commitment to get into real estate, something happened. I had sold solar with a company for a while, and let me go back, actually. We'll hang on this slide for a second. And when I got into real estate, I'd sold a few homes. I was at Keller Williams as I started my career, and I went back to this solar company to help them build some projects out. We actually built an inside sales division where we used to sell things at your kitchen table. Now we were selling it on a Zoom call. And this was a few years before COVID, so people thought we were hacking their computer. We were just trying to share our screen with them. Well, for about a year, I took all of my attention, all of my focus away from real estate. I had no real estate business. And this company that I was doing this for ended up going out of business. To this day, they owe me 5 figures, money I will never see. But that was God shutting a door and saying, hey, you know what? This is not where you're supposed to be, so I'm not going to support it. I need you over here back in real estate where you are supposed to be, and I am going to support that. And it was at a very tough time, as you can imagine, financially, mindset-wise, but I made that commitment, and that was the time I joined EXP. It was April 2019, one of the best decisions I've made in my life. Does anybody agree with that? Anybody feel like joining this company was the best, one of the best? What was really cool was once I got to EXP, I started to understand what it meant to take extreme ownership, and that's what we all need to do. We need to take extreme ownership of what we do every day. We tell ourselves lies all the time. I'm going to do this. Even if you don't tell somebody else, you tell yourself internally, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And every day that you don't, every time that you stack one of those pieces of evidence that you're not who you say you're going to be, you start to go down into this deep hole. So take ownership, have discipline. And when I got to EXP, it was cool because my mentor I went to learn the stock market from told me to get into real estate. And now I sell houses and I get stock for free. How cool is that, right? Well, this picture is very special because we also have to take ownership of our culture and our core values. So this was the first big event, really, really big event, EXP threw on in Charlotte. This was January of 2020. Glenn Sanford came into town, and I walked into this room. We had about 800 agents at this conference. And I walked up to Glenn, nobody was around him. I'm like, Glenn, first time meeting you, thank you so much for everything you've built here. The financial opportunity you have given us is absolutely unreal. But the one thing we can never lose is this culture, this family that's being built here, because I've never experienced anything like it before. It's the most special thing I've ever seen or been a part of. Well, about an hour later, Gene Frederick's there too. If you know Gino, he loves to write stuff down. Anybody seen the napkin presentation? Oh yeah, Gino, baby. Well, he's on stage talking. He's like, I need something to write on, right? So out of a room of 800 people, who jumps out of their seat first to bring that easel onto stage? The founder, the CEO at the time, Glenn Sanford. To see him exemplify that culture, to get low and get humble and in the trenches with us, which he still does today, by the way, in 2024, is truly, truly amazing. We're blessed to have a leader like Glenn. So this is my partner out of Texas. We built everything inside of EXP together. His name is Tyler Royke. And this picture is also in front of an ocean at one of these events. This was the first one I'd ever been to. It was in Puerto Vallarta about a month after that last conference, February of 2020. It was a week before the world shut down. And I'll tell you guys, shout out to you. Give yourself a round of applause for being in this room here today and yesterday. Really cool to see some fellow East Coasters out here. I think there's 3 or 4 of us because you got to change your state. You got to change your state and change who you're in proximity with. And until you get to these events, until you hear the stories of all these beautiful people sharing on stage, their testimonies of what's possible, you don't really understand it. But once I got into that room, the light bulb went off. I'd been in the company almost a year. But then that happened, and we thought we were going to go home and take over the world. And the next thing you know, the world is shutting down. We had to kind of figure things out. But that was the moment. And as we went through that year and things were different, right? We were uncomfortable. And I would encourage you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Do hard things. This picture is at the top of a mountain in North Carolina, about 2,600 feet of elevation. I can't even tell you how many pounds of ice and jugs of water up to the top of this mountain to do a cold plunge on top of it. And what was cool is one of the agents who had just joined our team, maybe a day on the team, jumps in our chat. I dropped this picture in there, and he's like, what the hell does this have to do with real estate? I thought I was joining a real estate team. But today, he is the number 2 agent in all of El Paso, Texas, because he got uncomfortable. And something like this inspired him as one of his first exposures to our culture here. As you get uncomfortable, you're going to start to receive opportunities. And I want you guys to believe for them first, receive them, and then become a beacon. You've got to be the light in this darkness. There's a lot of dark stuff out there, especially on social media. A lot of people won't get on social media. They're afraid, you know what, if I put this out there, what if this person doesn't like me? You know what, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of hate. I'm just gonna stay away from that. I was talking to an agent over here the other day. I was like, hey, you know what, look at it differently. You don't gotta be a consumer. You can be a creator of that content, and out of that big black hole, you can be the one shining bright light. I think that's what we were created to do. Let me bring this full circle for you guys. So, January of 2023, I got an email from a guy named Michael Valdez. He's like my brother. And this was a very special email. It said, Trey, you're gonna come to New York with us, and you're gonna participate in the closing bell ceremony at the NASDAQ studio. Something from the day I joined this company that I manifested, I claimed, I said, you know what, we're gonna do this one day. And it was finally happening. And Chipper was about 15 years old at the time, 15 and a half. No health problems. I've seen this guy bounce off a car at 45 miles an hour and have scratches, and that was it. And he had his first real health episode the day before I'm supposed to leave. You know how that day is when you're gonna fly or take a trip somewhere, how crazy that gets. I didn't get to do any of that. I spent the whole day at the vet talking and receiving the news that this was the end. And so I have a decision to make. Do I go? Do I make the commitment and I fly to New York and do this thing that I've always wanted to do? To inspire the people that are around me. Our whole group's been built off of this stock market community. Do I get to surprise my mentor? Or do I stay here with my best friend, who maybe I'll never get to see again? You're gonna be faced with a decision like that. And I remember being in that room at 3 o'clock in the morning, administering a catheter to my best friend, and telling him, buddy, I'm gonna come back. Hang on. And I got on that plane, and I flew to New York, and we did this. Guys, stop thinking so small. This world will have you believe that you're not possible. It's not possible. They'll tell you that you can't. They'll tell you a lot of bullshit. But if you just take a step on faith, if you let go and let God, watch Him redefine what's possible. Can I get an amen? So guess what? I came back. Chipper was good. By the time I came back, he could actually pee on his own. He has some kisses for me too. Oh yeah, won't he? I ended up getting more time with Chipper. And anybody been to the Cabo San Lucas event, the Mexico Freedom Summit we have in Cabo? Heck yeah. Get to that one. If you go to no other event all year long, we're going back next year, 2025, 2026. They've already locked it in for the next 2 years. Get there. It's special. But Chipper had a few episodes over the next few months, and every time that happened, it's like, man, is this going to be the end? Is this going to be the end? Well, he was doing pretty rough, and Cabo comes up. It's March. It's 3 months after we just rang the bell, and I'm faced with the same decision again. Do I go? Do I not? We bring a lot of our agents to these events. Can I have Jasper, Alejandro, and Sebastian stand up? By the way, Sebastian, it's his birthday today, baby. Love you guys. Get your agents to these events. It's one thing for you to experience it. It's a whole other thing for you to bring them along and help create an experience for another person. And that's why I went to Cabo. We had the biggest international turnout. I think we had like 12 agents in Cabo that year. And it was laying the groundwork. And I remember being in Cabo, waking up at 7:30 in the morning, March 30th, 2023, to the phone call that he had just passed away. I didn't think I was gonna be able to leave that hotel room. But I got out of that hotel room and I walked down, and I had the best people around me, and we had the best day. And we take a boat out there too. I think that's one of these next things. Oh.
Ready, Doe? You ready? You ready? Here we go. My booger. That's my boogers. That's my buddy. That's my buddies. Love you.
That was the last video I ever took with Chipper. That's the last picture we ever took, dropping him off at the dog sitter before leaving for Cabo. Guys, this is not about you. You've got to step out of this me attitude, this scarcity mindset. Step into the abundance that is out there for you. Go love on somebody. What is it, Kukua? Am I saying that right? That's it. Enrich other people to become rich. Love on people, man. Brent was talking about it big yesterday. And build that culture. These are our agents in Vegas. This was the biggest turnout we ever had. We brought 40 or some agents down to Vegas. We rented a big Airbnb for EXPCon. Had a phenomenal time. And that test is coming. If you build that culture, they're going to be there to help you during that test. You're going to pour into them. You're going to love on them. And then when you need it most, they're going to be there to love back on you. And I'll tell you, some of the best stories are built, they're created, they're written in the messiest moments of your life. And that test is going to become your testimony. There is no testimony without the test. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the beginning and the end can actually be the same exact thing. So I'll start with what I ended with. Is this that moment for you? Is this the end and the beginning right here as you sit in the chair today? Is this the moment for which you were created? If it is, reach out to me. Find me on Instagram, @TreyFullen. If there's anything I can do to help you, your agents, people that you're working with at other brokerages, your teams at EXP, we're building the love boat, baby. I appreciate you guys. Aloha.
Give it up for Trey. What a great story. All right, we are coming to the very end again for the day. Hope you guys, was it good so far? All right. This next speaker, our last one here, is I was introduced to, and he was told this amazing story. I actually had to give him a call. We jumped on a Zoom call. I was like, I got to call this guy. It was perfect for the Build event we're trying to do. Just like Trey, every speaker we've had up here has had the same trials and issues in life, but they've overcome them. And they've done it through either friends or connections, right? Their group of people, who they're plugged into, the culture. You've heard it over and over again. People who've loved on them over and over again. And that's what we're trying to build out here. We're building this through culture. We're building it through people. And what better chance we're going to have by all these amazing speakers that we've had on stage for the last day and a half now. And as we close this out today, this is a very unique individual who's had a huge impact on hundreds of people. He's native from Hawaii, but he's got an amazing story like everybody else on the stage that's had issues and challenges in life, and they've overcome them. And they didn't let their past or their define their future of who they are, right? We all have choices. And his choice was to survive. And there's a lot of reasons why. There's people that were counting on him. But he's also had a huge impact with people in America. He was part of the team. For those who know the movie Sound of Freedom, Tim Ballard, who was the guy who went and helped a lot of children that were through sex slavery, he was there and did a lot of it with him and witnessed a lot of stuff. So I'm going to bring this guy on stage because he has an amazing story to share with each one of you guys about how life can punch you in the gut, kick you when you're down, but then you have a choice to get back up. And he did it. And now this man is from LA, Beverly Hills, who is thriving and is doing well and is enriched and wealthy in every part of his life. And all he wants to do is give back. He's building homes in Lahaina right now for those that were burned out. He's doing things for people because that's who he is. And that's the kind of culture we are bringing to Hawaii. So without further ado, I want to bring on the stage Kahea Kamau from LA. Bring it up.
Holy shit, who is this intro for? That guy sounds cool. I had a whole bunch of slides, and Chris kept texting me going, hey, get your presentation over, your slides over, and then a few hours ago I decided to switch it up a little bit. And so I sent the slides over just like a couple hours ago. And what I wanted to do in this one is I want to share some stories. You guys good with stories? All right, let's share some stories. So I'm going to talk about stories. I think the last couple days now, you guys have had a lot of amazing speakers, and Chris is right. Like, what I love about is when I hear people's stories and it's about the challenges that they overcome, right? It's not the guy that inherited a bunch of money. There's no respect in that sense to that, right? No one's ever looking up to that guy. It's the challenges that they overcome. Sound of Freedom. So I'm going to take off my jacket. Just 1 second, guys. My best friend is Tim Ballard. So the movie Sound of Freedom is based on his life. He left the CIA to go rescue kids, and he started a nonprofit. I had trained in martial arts, weapons, and things like that. My father was in the Army, and so I was good at a lot of different weapons, all those kind of things. But he started inviting me out to missions. And I'd play this undercover role of going in trying to rescue kids. So a couple of years ago, I find myself in a van on the side of a road with 2 other former Navy SEALs in the middle of nowhere in a country called Haiti. 90-degree weather, we're sweating it out, and we're waiting to ambush a trafficker that had been stealing babies, 2-month-old babies, and selling them to slave labor camps. And this stuff is like the kind of stuff that goes on all around the world. And I'll reverse. The way these missions sometimes work, we have to orchestrate or organize very, very quickly. We'll get a tip, we'll get a lead, we'll send someone in that can verify or validate the lead. And then sometimes we just have to get in there very quickly, right? So I'll get a call or a text message, hey man, can you get over to Haiti? And then we'll figure it out from there, right? It'll be like a text like that, literally like that. So I'm used to it. By that point, I'd gone on like 30-something missions. And I was familiar with Haiti. I'd already done Haiti a bunch. And so head to the airport. Kind of a funny thing is sometimes we'll bring a camera guy with us, and he'll document the mission. So the camera guy that I was supposed to meet at the airport that was going to come with me on the flight, he was like a greenie video guy. Like, he had never been on a mission before. And our other guy was already off, I think in like Africa or something like that, on another mission. So this guy has like never been on a mission. Like, we just call him a greenie. I meet him at the airport, and he's like, all right, what's the deal, man? They told me that I'm supposed to go to the airport, we're gonna fly out to Haiti, and that I was gonna meet with you, and you would fill me in on the whole mission and what we're gonna be doing in Haiti. And I was like, oh, well, they told me I was gonna go to the airport and meet you, and then we'd just go to Haiti. And so he's sitting there going, wait, we're just flying to Haiti, we don't even know what we're doing? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Well, who's meeting us at the airport? I don't know, I hope someone is. Right, this guy's just starting to flip out, like kind of trip out a little bit. So we get to the airport, fly to Haiti, we land there the next day. One of my partners that I usually do missions with was already in Haiti, so he was at the airport already to meet us. And we start to debrief. So here's the situation. We have a trafficker stealing babies, 2-month-old babies, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months old. And then he would take them across the border, across the DR border, and then sell them to labor camps. those labor camps are actually farms, like produce. Some of these produce places around the world are selling their fruits and produce and everything for so cheap because they actually have slave labor. There's over 2 million that we know of that are actually in actual slave labor. And now the kids are raised on these farms, but they don't know any different because they were taken when they're little infants. So all they know is that they wake up on a farm and they have to go to work. That's all they know. So anyways, the scenario here was myself, the 2 other operators, and the camera guy were sitting huddled in this little car, and we're discussing how we're going to take down this trafficker guy. Well, he had a compound off the coast of Haiti on the other side of the country. It would take us 6 hours to get there, and then he had armed guards around the whole perimeter of his little compound, like about 6 guards, right? So we're like discussing all this, right? And then you get the camera guy, the new guy, and he's like, okay, wait, guys, maybe I'm missing something here. So there's 6 armed guards at this guy's house, and he's on a little island compound off the coast, 5 hours from here. And how many guys do we have? And I was like, dude, we got Rocky, Dave, me, and they got you. Maybe you can jump in. And this guy was tripping out. He was like, holy crap, you guys are crazy. And fortunately enough for him, we decided, okay, yeah, maybe that is kind of crazy. We probably shouldn't infiltrate that. It'd be kind of hard to sneak up anyways. So we decided to do an arms weapons deal. We had our informant that had told us about all this and was connected to this guy. We had our informant tell the guy that there were some Americans with guns that wanted to do a weapons deal with him. And to come meet us, the next day, such and such, and, we'll do the deal or whatever. So check this out. Let's see if this goes to the next slide. I'm gonna go next, or how do you go to the next one? Next slide. I was arrested. Oh, right here. Next one. There we go. Oh no, next slide. Right here. So this is me in Haiti on the side of the road in a van. Oh, how do you go back? How do you go back to the video? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, this green button. It just keeps switching. You know that one video where I was sitting in the van? Can you guys play that one? Yeah, right here, this one. Oh, okay. It didn't transfer over as a video. Oh, okay. Anyways, so sitting inside of side of the road, and the plan was we're just gonna go old technique style and just ambush the dude when he comes down the road. That was basically our magnificent plan. So the video guy is right there actually. That's him right there. He's got his camera. It's like ready for the ambush. And has no idea how we're going to do it. And then I've got the other former Navy SEALs in there. So the guy comes down the road, literally about 2 minutes after this video, and we jump out of the van. I literally clotheslined him. So they'll use like mopeds or motorcycles sometimes in those cities that are like far away, just because they can go in and out of places very quickly and avoid traffic. So as he was coming down, I clotheslined the guy, right? He flies off. We grab him, we apprehend him, and about 5 minutes later, then we go to the next one. Let's see if this one plays. Oh, here we go.
Our target coming down on a motorcycle. Yeah, man. This guy our informant has the guy, Wilson Bristol, the guy who trafficked Gardy, on his own moped, and he's escorting him down here to us.
Bring him right to us.
Our guy,
He has no idea.
He has no idea what's going on.
So we just ambush him on the side of the road.
Our guys are
Rocky,
good,
you ready,
man.
Rocky?
Rocky, you ready to roll, buddy?
We have the AG and the gym over on the other side.
What's that?
You should be sitting on the gentleman's car.
We're just gonna roll
On
out
his
here
car?
a little bit.
In his car. You know, we just gotta get cool.
We'll go to that. And we'll go to the next one. And we got him. This guy was locked up for about 20 years. And with the cooperating governments next to Dominican Republic as well, they extradited him to Dominican Republic and he had to face the same issue, or he had to be retried for the same crime. So a lot of these missions that I went on was because I was fortunate enough to have built a financial success that allowed me to go wherever I want to go, leave whenever I want to leave, and I would donate even on these missions and cover a lot of the costs because that nonprofit, when Tim had first started it, was very low on money. They didn't have a lot of capital in the beginning. And fortunately having that ability to build all this financial success, I was able to jump in then when I'm called to do so and help. And it wasn't always like that. When I'll rewind back when I was younger, I was kicked out of school. I was kicked out of high school. I was arrested and kicked out of high school at the age of 17 years old. It was a technology high school, first in the nation, Al Gore's pet project when he was vice president, and they were studying the effects of computers on kids. So it was computers in every classroom, at every desk. 200 kids were selected for this school. I was already on to my third high school by that point. Flunked out of my freshman year, flunked out of high school. Sophomore year was struggling. My parents were trying to figure out what to do with me, so they got me into this program. Fortunately enough, I actually really did well in the program. I love computers. Anybody that's known me for a long time knows that I'm actually a tech guy. Before real estate, before everything else, I'm a tech nerd. And I love coding. Well, the cool thing about coding, or what was funny about coding at this school, as I got really good at coding, was all my friends are coders as well. And coders were also hackers, right? So I was learning a lot of the extracurricular activities aside from coding at that school. And so what we figured was, well, you know, one way to test our abilities of coding, we'd pull pranks on the school. Like I did the whole football team, straight A's, right? And I was like, why are you guys even like mad at me for that? I was like, it's obvious a football team does not have straight A's. It's like, you get a welcome message on a Monday morning when you guys are logging in by me, you know, or whatever. But my senior year at the school, I hacked my principal's email. And I started sending messages to other kids, other students. I was like, you're suspended. Go straight home. Your parents are told already. And I would like run out, like, so they treat us like college kids. So we could leave the classroom anytime we wanted to. So then, of course, after I sent the email, I know the kid got it. So then I'd like run over outside, try to stop him. You know, it's a joke. Don't worry. I'll laugh. We'll laugh about it. But I think I have forgotten to tell every kid that I sent that email to, so there were some that actually went home, right? And you can only imagine the conversation that happened with the parents and the kid. Why did you get suspended? I have no idea. The principal just emailed me. Whatever, you did something wrong. I'm calling the principal now. So anyways, the principal was a little upset, right? Now, they didn't catch me because I was a bad coder. There's no way they would have caught me. They caught me because they knew there was probably only one person in that school that would have done a prank like that. So I'm sitting in the classroom a couple of days later, And I look outside, and I see a swarm of cops coming down the hallway. And I'm like, why the fuck do I get the feeling these cops are headed for me? You know, you're just like, you know that one, like those times where you like just have a bad feeling, like you know something bad is gonna happen. And then it's like all happens in slow motion, like there's nothing you can do, you just gotta sit there and watch it unfold. It was like that, right? Like, so cops, boom, you know, bust in the classroom, run to the back. I'm sitting in the back of the classroom. They throw me on the ground, handcuff me, and they drag me to my principal's office. My principal starts going off on me, right? So I'm like arrested, handcuffed, and he's like, you're a loser. You're gonna lose the rest of your life. You're out of this school. You're not worth the air you breathe. Like just going off on me. And it was probably one of those things because I was always in his office a lot. Like we'd talk about life. Like, every time I got in trouble, he'd talk to me about life and stuff. So I think it was one of those times where, you know, where you're trying to help somebody a lot over and over and over and over, and that person just doesn't listen. It was probably something like that, right? So then he kind of just had this little snapping point and was just like done with me. So when all that's going on, the cops actually had to pull him aside and tell him, oh, you know, actually, we don't have a law against him hacking your email, so we're gonna have to let him go. That just made him more pissed. And so my mom picks me up. Of course, they had released him from my mom. And he went on this like rampage, like went to every high school in the district and told the principals not to let me in. It was pretty crazy. So here I am, 17 years old, kicked out of high school, but not even sure if I'm allowed to go back to high school anymore. So I'm like, holy shit, my life is like over. Right? Because what are we told growing up? What are most of you guys told growing up? Nolly said earlier, the American dream, right? You go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, you get good grades, so you can get a degree, so you can get a job, so you can pay bills, so you can retire. That was success. That was like the plan of success. And anybody that was gonna like get kicked out of school or not go to college, we were told over and over and over, oh, they're not gonna be successful, right? So here I am, 17 years old, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to finish high school. So I'm like, holy shit, I probably am. Like, probably am in trouble. That's all ripped out from me. That whole idea of going to college and everything was all ripped out. And what that did was it forced me at a young age to have to start looking at life differently as to how I was going to create financial success. Because at 17 years old, even with all that going on, I was still stubborn enough to believe that I would be successful one day. That was something I refused to let go. And so I did what anybody else would do. If you can't go to school, you're going to grab books. And I started reading books. Now, another thing that happened that those few weeks after I got kicked out of school, something else that was cool, that was Microsoft sent people down to go look for me in this town. They show up, and I'm like, and they're like asking me, hey, can you just show us how you did it? I'm like, well, am I going to be in trouble? They're like, no, you're not going to be in trouble. We might actually give you a job. I was like, holy shit, you gave me a job? And I show them what I did, and they offered me a job. But they said, hey, you have to finish high school at least. Like, that's a minimum requirement to work at Microsoft at that point. So high school, GED, right? So at 19 years old, I was a lead engineer at Microsoft in the development of Windows 2000 with 20 Microsoft engineers under me. I was so shy that I had a hard, I remember the first day I was being introduced to my team, my department, and I was like scared to even say my name. I had like all these older people, right? And I was like 19. And it was like hard for me to like even introduce myself. I wanted to like just go to my office. I think I literally told them, hi, my name's Kahea. I'm just gonna get to work. And I walked off, went to my desk. So it started settling in my mind that, wait a minute here, there's a whole nother pathway to financial success. And then in the tech world, we're surrounded by all this overnight success anyways. All of them were college dropouts, and all of them were some of them were kicked out of high school too. Like my boss at Microsoft got kicked out of high school as well. It was almost more normal to hear somebody getting dropped out of school at Microsoft. It was like a very normal thing to hear that story. Like you stood out if you actually went to college. And so that path started to conclude in my mind as I was watching other people become successful, and it was an alternate path. I started reading books, right? One of the books I came across was Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Another book is How to Win and Influence Friends, Dale Carnegie, right? And these are books that, if you guys haven't read yet, you need to read. Richest Man in Babylon. Anybody read that book yet? Yes. It's a good book, The Scrolls. All these books that I was reading, and I without even realizing it, was doing self-development at a young age, like at 17, 18, 19, 20. I left Microsoft, started my own tech company. And I continued to journey on. Kept reading. I didn't party. I literally was just consuming everything I could. You know that my first business plan, the way I even got a business plan, was because I went into it was like a bike shop or something like that, and met with the owner there just randomly, and I said, hey, did you have to make a business plan for your store? And they said, yeah, I did. I was like, is there any chance I could get a copy of that just so that I can understand what a business plan looks like? The guy gave me a copy on Word doc so I could edit it. And that's how I made my first business plan after that, right? I have no problem, and this is something that's very important, never have a problem asking for help. Never have a problem asking for help, right? I have no problem asking for help. And anytime I saw something that someone else was doing that I thought looked cool in the business world sense, I had no problem asking them, can you explain to me what it is you're doing? I want to learn. I gobbled up so much. And I started formulating all these different things. So like 5 qualities of a millionaire. Goals. You have to set goals. It was mentioned several times in this conference. You have to set goals. But goals, to me, are not just setting the goal and is great. You have to go through the 6 senses. Right? Feel, touch, hear, smell. Right? Like you have to truly understand what your goal is. For me, at a young age, a mentor had told me, you conceive the idea, you'll believe the idea, and then you'll achieve the idea. So conceive, believe, achieve, right? And for me, it's not just about having the goal, conceiving it, you got to set up the date and all that kind of stuff as well. Like you want to put dates with your goals. But for me, it was a script of a movie. So you know, like when you watch like a scary movie and the lady's like starting to walk into the old creepy house, or the guy hiding behind the door. You've seen this movie like 20 times, but you're still sitting there thinking like, dude, don't go in the house, right? Don't go in the house. You know, you're like getting nervous, but it's like, dude, of course she's gonna go in the house. It's the same movie, right? And she goes in the house, gets kidnapped, and everything else, right? My goals were like the script of a movie. It was going to happen. I believed them so much that when I wrote my goals down at 19, and I had no idea how I'd get there, but I just knew that, at age, like I remember riding the bus at one point when I didn't have a car, and I remember like looking at my goal card, and I was like, you know what? By the time I'm 24, I'm gonna have a really cool car. You know, and every time there was like some kind of setback in life, I would look at my goal card. Like, oh, you know what? That's all good. When I'm 25, I'm gonna have a cool-ass house, right? Like, and these are like, I just believed it. Like, I was really just waiting to get older, to get closer to my goals kind of thing. Relentless determination. Relentless determination isn't like a passive way of just going, yeah, but at 2 a.m., you're tired, you promised your client you would email them back the contract, but now it's 2 a.m. in the morning, your child just woke up, you have to feed the baby, you have all these different things, and you have to wake up early for Zumba class, so maybe you'll do it the next day, even though you committed to somebody that you would do it that night. Relentless determination is follow through, even at the difficult times, right? So it's not some guy walking through a field full of flowers, and we go, wow, that guy is relentlessly determined. He walked through a field full of flowers. It's a guy walking across a field full of hot lava coals, barefoot. And you're like, wow, that guy is relentlessly determined to get across that field. Friend circles. Who's in your friend circles? We all know this, right? Like, you will become exactly like the people you're surrounded with. And that's why you guys are here. But when you leave this event, who are you surrounded by? Check your friend circles. Check the people that are influencing you. I'm very cautious as to who takes my time. And it's not in a stuck-up nature of, oh, I just don't want to be around people or that kind of thing. It's just that you just want to be very cautious as just to not allow bad energy around you or whatever it is that might suck energy from you. Financial literacy. I coach several businesses on scaling their businesses very quickly, right? And one of the issues that I see over and over and over is financial literacy. People want to make money, but they don't want to understand money. We have people that like study football or like basketball, and they do the what are that challenges that they do every year? A Final Fantasy, whatever, right? And they like know the players, they know the stats, they know everything inside and out. But then when it comes to money, they have no clue. Yet, majority of your working day, or the majority of your normal waking day, is spent working for money. It makes no sense to me. So if you want to be really good at money, you got to study money. Read about wealth. Read about people that have created a lot of wealth. What do they do with their money? How do they make it? I was reading all these different books, biographies. I was trying to understand how the banking system worked, all those kind of things when I was young. And then self-development. And I don't think we have to go into that too much further because you guys are here. You already know what that is. 3 characteristics of a successful leader: quick to make decisions. Napoleon Hill, when he was interviewing Ford, one highlight that stood out was that a successful leader will make a decision within 60 seconds. 60 seconds. Right? Once you get all the information that you need, it really doesn't take much longer for you to make that decision. What happens when you're indecisive, though? Stress. Where does stress come from? Indecision. Right? Like anytime you're stressed, you haven't made a decision and committed to that decision yet. Because as soon as you make a decision in whatever you're stressed about, now you're just taking action. Indecision, stress is created from indecision. Executing, taking action. Over and over and over, I hear people talk about, oh, they want to start this business, or they have a really cool business plan that they're working on, and they've been doing it for years, talking about this business plan they're working on, or whatever it is, right? Maybe in your guys' realm with the realtors is, oh, I'm going to try a new marketing technique. But you talk about it. But the only way that's ever going to come to fruition is when you actually take action. But sometimes people get so caught up in the details that they're like, well, I need to make sure this thing is going to be like perfect. And then I'll take action. I'm complete opposite. I'll just take action and pivot along the way. Motion creates motion, right? Motion creates motion. And so you just take action. You study out the best that you can, But at some point, you have to take action. Some of my biggest companies that I started, like millions of dollars of cash flow, never had a business plan, never had a business card, never had a website. It was just a deal on a weekend that I set up, and all I did was just take action. Hired 20 employees over a weekend to do a petroleum contract. Taking responsibility. It's so contradictory, I think, in ourselves to feel like we should not take blame for others, in a sense, but leaders will take more responsibility. And a really, really good leader will try to take responsibility for everybody around him. I know successful guys that, like, they have no connection with someone else other than the fact that they maybe sat at a dinner table with that dude, and then that dude went off and did something stupid later, and that guy will take responsibility for that. It's like that kind of stuff, where you're saying, you know what, maybe I could have been a better influence to the guy last night, or whatever it was, right? So it's not just taking responsibility for your own actions, but the more that you prove to the world, or God, that you're willing to take responsibility for others, the more you'll be empowered. 2 main ingredients to scaling a business: delegation and duplication. You have to know how to team build, right? You look at all the different success stories up here, and I've listened to different speakers, and all of them built teams, right? No one was doing it on them by themselves. I mean, your guys' whole entire program is built around you have to build a team. No business scales without delegation and duplication. And it really narrows right down to that. As soon as you find something that works, then you want to duplicate that and you want to delegate it out, the responsibilities. All of my businesses and all the different projects that I'm involved in, which involve about 20 different companies, yet I have a lot of free time. I delegate. I'm really, really good at delegating. I don't want to run my day-to-day business. I don't want to be trapped in every single day having to show up to an office somewhere. But I still want big businesses. And it comes with having to build teams, but build very, very good teams. So, 25 years old, I make my first $1 million. Legit million, in the bank, liquid, just got married, had one child. His name is Josh Jr., and I think life is good, right? I'm like, wow, I'm on track here. Rewind, at 22, I bought my first property. It was a rental in Mililani. You guys know Nob Hill townhouses? Anybody know? My very first townhouse, very first real estate property was Nob Hill townhouses, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I slept in it one night on the floor. I bought a blanket from Walmart, and I wanted to get a feeling of how it felt to sleep in your first property. And at the time though, I lived in Laie, and it was so far from the ocean, Mililani. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna live here. I went back to Laie and continued to rent a room, share a room with one of my friends that was still going to college. I did that. I never actually lived in any of my properties until I had my fourth property. I just kept buying them and renting them out. And that was working. So I had tech going on and the real estate going on. And it was, for me, it was a lot of fun because that Mililani property made me $300 net cash flow, right? After rents and mortgages and everything. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's my car payment. I was like, oh, okay, so then if I get another one, then that could be my grocery bill. And I get another one, then that could be my rent. And I started stacking up properties with that idea in mind. I know Tara's here. She does the same thing. She does pretty amazing. Where you at? There you at. And so, 25, hit $1 million. 28, I'm going broke. Going through divorce. Market crashed. I have 2 kids now. One's a month and a half old. Me and the wife at the time decided to go through a divorce and split up. And we had married young, so it was nothing on her, but I said, look, I'm focused on businesses, I'm building my businesses, I'm not really into the whole party scene and all that kind of stuff, so you go out, do whatever you want to do, I'll take care of the kids. So I had a month-and-a-half-old, a 2-year-old turning 3, and it was a 2008 crash. And I had just dropped $1 million in a development in Kahuku. And that was going to get locked up for a while, right? I think I could have survived a lot better, but financially through the crash. I actually didn't have a lot of too much money tied up. The issue was on that same weekend that we separated and she had moved out and I had both my kids, I get a letter in the mail from the doctor telling me that my 2-year-old was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Spastic diplegia of cerebral palsy. High functioning, by the way, so it wasn't like in a wheelchair or anything, but he had delays on his right side. He had to have a leg brace. And my brother's a doctor. My brother-in-law's a doctor as well. So I call him right away. We do a phone call, and I take a picture of the letter. And I say, what is this? And I said, well, they explained everything to me. Come to find out, as we're trying to figure out what's a good solution to help my son, I learned that the brain continues to develop neurons up until about 6 years old. So he's 2, turning 3. I have a good 3-year window to really help retrain his brain. And what cerebral palsy is, for those that don't know, it's brain damage. And depending on where the brain damage is, will depend on if it affects cognitive or if it affects physical or those kind of things, right? And fortunately for him, it was more of a physical thing, delays on the right side. So I start going through this whole process of really trying to help him get all the services that he needs at Kapiolani Hospital, at the Children's Hospital. And we start doing like 20 hours a week of physical therapy, occupational therapy, doctor's appointments, and I was just pushing everything I could. But, of course, if I'm going to put all that time and effort onto that side, my decision was, and especially because I had a baby, was I would just figure it out financially. I didn't have time to do both. So I had a business. I had a large printing company that I had bought here in Hawaii. It was called Hawaii Digital. It later became ROI Printing. And that company started going downhill. I bought an office building the year prior when everything was good. Bought an office building in Honolulu. Of course, the rents stopped coming in when the market crashed. And I had almost like an empty office building with a huge mortgage. And I was only 28. I had like this $30,000 mortgage on this one building a month, $30,000 a month. My development was like $20,000 something a month. And so like it was all crawling in. I just didn't have time because I wanted to take care of my baby and my son. As time went on, little fires would pop up here and there, right? And you'd put them out. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this thing had an issue over there. Okay, I'd take care of it. That thing has an issue. Okay, I'll take care of it. But as that's happening, money's dwindling. At one point, the health insurance tells me that they've maxed out on covered services for my son and they won't do any more physical therapy for him. We get down to the point where my mortgage is now in foreclosure because I couldn't afford the mortgage. Car starts getting repossessed, or they're trying to repossess the car. And I'm still like trying to like put out all these little fires along the way, right? Employees starting to leave my company. Paychecks couldn't get paid. Paychecks were bounced. And trying to handle all of that, but then still make sure my kids are okay, right? And we're going to hospital visits. And it's almost kind of funny now, but it's like even my dogs, like one dog gets lost or stolen, like our gate had got left open and he just like disappeared. He was like, I love that dog. The other one got hit by a car, right? So it was like everything was going on. Like if there was something bad that could have happened, it happened. You guys ever been there? Felt like that? Right? Like fire after fire after fire. Okay, I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. And you're pivoting, and you're trying to do whatever you can. But this had gone on for like a year like this. I come home one day, and we're coming home from the hospital from my son's physical therapy. And I go to flip on the light switch. Electricity's cut. So I'm like, all right, Josh, we're gonna camp out tonight. We're gonna camp for the next couple of days. You know what? I'm gonna go grab a sheet. I'm gonna put it over the bed. We're gonna camp out inside the house. And my son's like, oh, wow, this is so cool, you know? And my other son, still baby, just barely one, and still drinking milk. And I'm like, okay, he likes warm milk. Well, microwave doesn't work. So I take a whole bunch of baby bottles, I fill them up with water, and I put them on the windowsill of my bedroom so the sun would hit it, warm them up so that late at night, or at least it'd have lukewarm water, right? And then even late at night, he could have his warm bottle because his schedule was like he'd wake up at like 2 in the morning and he wanted a bottle. And that went on for a couple days. In the midst of all this, the mailbox is full, right? You guys know why, right? There ain't no fucking good thing going on in the mailbox. Like, come on. Freaking bills after bills after bills. I don't want to look at all that. That thing was so piled, it was like falling out. I was like, and I was driving in my driveway, and I'm just like, no, don't look at that. You know? It was just more bad news. Well, one day it's rainy. Sun's not out. Milk doesn't get, or the water doesn't get warmed. 2 a.m. hits. Go to feed Solomon is the name. Go to feed him his milk. And, you know, it's late at night. We got the candles going in his room where the crib was, and then me and my son still camping under the tent in my room. Shake it up, give it to him, and he spits it out. And it was like at that moment, as I was standing there looking over him in the crib, and I realized that we had gotten so low financially, I couldn't even feed my own baby. And I remember just sitting, it's like everything just kind of hit me, right? Because I think the whole time in this whole process, I was just pivoting. And I wasn't really thinking about what's going on. I was just pivoting. And then, of course, constantly focused on the what ifs. All the negative, right? Oh, what if the house gets foreclosure? Well, I was in foreclosure, but it wasn't foreclosing that day. Or the car, somebody had come to take my car, but I needed the car. I take my son to physical therapy, occupational therapy. I take him to the hospital. And I remember, like, that moment, just not knowing what to do. I back up, you know, and I'm walk out of his room, and I think I ended up in the hallway, like in the corner, and I was sitting in the corner in the dark, tearing up. Had no idea what to do. I had no idea that I would get into a situation where I couldn't feed my own kids. And everything was coming down on me, right? Like where you just get the weight is on your shoulders, and it's just like, geez, like, give me a break, right? I remember sitting there just thinking, just give me a break, like just a little break. In the midst of all this, and Solomon's crying in the other room, I hear this little, Dad? Dad, where are you, Dad? You know, and I'm like, I don't want him to know where I'm at, that I'm crying and trying to figure out what to do. Dad, come back to the camp out. And finally he finds me in the dark, sitting in the corner right here, and he's like, jumps in my lap, and he's like, Dad, come back to the camp out. What are you doing? And I didn't know what to tell him, but I did have my phone, and I just thought it was so opposite from how I was feeling, because he was like, I could tell he was smiling in the dark, right? And I was like, he's so happy, and yet I'm so miserable. So I grab my phone, and I take a picture that night. That's Josh. And I'm like, how can this be? Like, he was so happy to be with his dad camping. We both were living in the same environment, eating the same food, dealing with the same physical things. Yet I'm living a miserable life, and he's just happy in the present, spending time with his dad. So when I grab my phone, I take that picture, and I start staring at the phone, because it was just so opposite, like the way I was feeling, he was feeling. I just couldn't understand it. And then all of a sudden, things just started clicking. And I was like, wow. I've been so focused on what was wrong and what was going to happen, or what I thought was going to happen, that it happened, right? What we focus on happens, right? Tony Robbins shares a story about him going to the NASCAR track in Awaken the Giant, and he's driving a NASCAR, and they do this training. And in the training, they say, hey, we're going to do all these different things to the car while you're trying to drive it around the track, and your sole goal is to stay focused on the track. And of course, it's Tony Robbins. Obviously, he knows this as well. You got to focus on the track, focus on where you're going. They put him in a spin all of a sudden in the car, and of course, in his mind, he was saying, yeah, I was supposed to look at the track, but of course, as we're spinning, I see the wall. And he just could not get his head to turn away from the wall. The instructor finally had to grab Tony Robbins' helmet and force it to look at the road. And then, of course, after doing that, they naturally slid back into place, and they're back on the road. So I'm sitting there that night, and all these lessons that I read about in the books, all the self-development, all the tapes, all the different stories that I heard, everything started to come back to me, and I said, and on top of that, I was so caught up in everything that was going on that I wasn't even just being present. Of course, I get up, I jump onto the bed with my son, and it's like everything just lifted from me. The weight on my shoulders lifted from me. It was like a paradigm shift, like, where you're just like, all of a sudden, you just see something from a whole different angle. And I had a hard time sleeping that night because I was actually excited. And as I started to have more positive thinking and started to change my mental state, what started happening? Solutions start popping up in my head. All the different issues that were going on, all of a sudden, my brain started now giving me solutions that I wasn't thinking about before. It was hard to sleep that night. Company that was almost at closing, car being repossessed, house in foreclosure, all this stuff going on. We're on welfare, and yet I was so excited because I knew I could get it all fixed. That I was the answer, right? I was looking externally for some answer. I was the answer. So The next few weeks, of course, you know, I just start pounding, like, and with just like, this is what I mean by relentless determination. That even at that night, next day, I didn't know how I was going to get money any faster than doing this. I went on to Craigslist, but I know I needed to get money very quickly, like cash, right, to get the electricity on. I went on Craigslist, found jobs where I could just do random odd jobs at people's houses to get cash, like right away, right? So like go unclog a toilet, go fix somebody's shower. I'm not even a construction guy, but these kind of things were the kind of things that I was doing just for a couple of days so I could get some cash real quick, turn on electricity. Then I started throwing some things into my business. My printing company, I started revamping marketing plans and strategies and start rebuilding all that. It was like I knew all this stuff. I just had to start taking action. And within 6 months, all my bills were paid, had $100,000 sitting in my checking account. Within 3 years, I had acquired over $9 million in property, continued to add more, and I never looked back. I just kept charging. People talk about the why, and that is the biggest thing that I can leave with you guys, is you have to find your why. And your why can't be about you. Nothing is about, your why will never be strong enough if it's about you. Has to be about someone else or other people. And for most of you guys, of course, your why is your kids. My driven why is to create employment and create opportunities and create millionaires and financially successful people wherever I go. And that's what drives me to build. And so when you guys are hit, some of you guys are in the corner. Some of you guys have been in the corner before. Some of the speakers here have been in that corner. Some of you guys are in the corner now. I invite you guys to come back to the camp out. With that, I'm out.
Wow, thank you so much, Kahea.
That was awesome. Give it up again for Kahea, please, everybody. I mean, story after story after story of speakers on the stage, right? So literally being on the ground bottom and rebuilding themselves back up because of their choice and their decision to do so. And I believe that's the kind of thing. We've heard a couple times on stage here, several speakers, about how, one of them in particular, and this is kind of where I'm at, I am literally in the position where I no longer want to be a millionaire. I want to build millionaires. I really do. And EXP is the platform that actually allows that now. And I'm excited beyond all belief at this point that that's exactly my mission. In 2024, my mission this year was to do that, to elevate as many people as I possibly can and help create millionaires. And I know it sounds cliche and it sounds crazy. You might think I'm crazy, but the truth is that is the truth. Each and everybody in this room has the potential and ability to have this. Each and every person in this room has a dream. I promise you has a dream. Something you probably talk about in private, but it's really a dream. Nobody wakes up without dreams and aspirations. Everybody's human. But very few of us actually believe that we deserve the dream. And at this point, every speaker is on this stage today, from Phil to Kahea to everybody, people that even from this country that came here with that $0 in their pocket and still made something happen in their life. So there's no excuses at all, except for the fact that we look at ourselves with our limiting beliefs. So I hope this was impactful for you guys. Like, truly, I hope this was impactful for you guys.
I hope it was. You guys all feel like that was good enough? Would you guys like us to do it again next year? All these speakers?
This is just the beginning.
Okay.
Like, the idea behind this was to create a massive amount of momentum and wave in this. We started it with, say, catch the wave, because that's the process we're trying to do here. Each and every month we're doing something, and it's not over. So did you guys like the content here? Yes? Okay, well, it's not over.
Okay, what's that?
Yep, next month, June, the next event. Shoot that QR code right there. Everybody's looking at, we had several speakers on stage right here talking about listings, controlling the market. It's all about having the control of the market right now. So I'm bringing another individual, Sean Work, ranked number 95 in the country, the Wall Street Journal, best in the country. He's closed over 4,000 transactions in his career, 22 years in the business. He will be coming here June 20th at Waikele Country Club. It's June 20th from 11 to 1. Master listing event.eventbrite.com or click that QR code right there.
And how much is it again?
$10. That's less than the coffee at Starbucks, and I drink coffee every day. So I'm telling you right now, it's less than the coffee cup of Starbucks. So if you can afford Starbucks, you can afford this right here. If you're looking to build your business and grow and navigate through this industry and market, you need to be here. And this is going to be something that's going to be tuning every month. We're going to bring some value out here to you guys so you continue to grow. That is the key.
So thank you so much, Chris, for doing that. Yeah, it's just super cool. He's promised he's going to bring us something every month. So
I'm committed to it. You can hold me. I just put it out in the universe.
I'm still selling houses, so he's going to do all the work.
Let's do it. Let's grow.
So anyway, you guys, just before we go, we're all done. I just want to thank you for staying. You guys are wonderful.
Yes.
You all have stayed. You know, I had to go out one time, and I just didn't see like a back place full of people. There are very few realtors out there, just you could tell, in the middle of a serious negotiation. But it was so nice that so many of you put a lot on the side to be here, and I know that that's true. I know that that's how our business is, and thank you guys. But I also wanted to thank just one more time, please, you guys, support the people that supported us too. We definitely had some great sponsors again. Just going to mention them really quick. You saw the social media people that flew in from LA and supported us.
Yes, give it up for them.
You guys, please, if you didn't go see them, at least go take their card on the way out and see what they might be able to offer you in the future. They're amazing. I did sign up for them, so they can help me with social media posts, because I'm just terrible at doing video, but they give me the content. I can just quickly do what I have to do. And I'm just not great at it, so I need that help, and it's not much. And then also Nick 80. Nick 80 is my favorite lender. It's hard to share your favorite people with other people, because then you're afraid they're going to get too busy. But I feel like my gift to you is like I'm sharing my best people. Nick 80 is my best. And then Juan Hernandez, who's been filming in here, he's such a great photographer. So many of my listings have been taken with his cameras and with him in control. So look at my listings, see what they look like, see if maybe Juan would be someone you would want to use even as a backup if you have somebody now. And then also Kelly, I forgot to mention her. Have you seen that cute little blonde, dressed in black, running around with a great big camera all the time? That's Kelly. Kelly has done some lifestyle videos for me. The property that Joel and I just sold, the presidential suite that was $16 million, she did the most beautiful video on that property. I had 2 different guys come through, would not take the drone the way I wanted it. I wanted to go all the way across the ocean, across the yard, through the house, through the lagoon, and through the gate to the front driveway. And nobody would do it but Kelly. She's like, I think I can do this. 2 other people came with their drones, guys, you know. And she shows up. She's like, she's shaking a little bit. She's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So anyway, I just want to say Kelly is a phenomenal videographer. And then I also wanted to say the home inspector that we had out there, Charles, I have worked with him so many times. He's very, you guys, he's just on his own. He does his own thing, but what I do like about him is just the way he talks to the clients. He's very calm. He really understands what he's doing, but he's just the way he comes across to my clients is what I like. He's very to the point. He doesn't give a whole bunch of opinion that's not needed, but he's very factual and very simple, and I like that. So who else? Did I forget anybody? Boom. Well, Fidelity, they were in my whole program. I love those guys. Yes, Fidelity, you guys all know all the title companies, but you know the big thing is if they're helping you and if those sales reps are out there giving you help, they're doing that not because they like you. They might like you, but that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it so that you will reciprocate and give them some escrows, and they have phenomenal escrow officers. So, I mean, that's coming from the horse's mouth. I used to be one, so that's why I'm saying that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for everything you've done, and thank you for your support, and I love you all, and go get them.
Hey, real quick, too, also,
All done.
Monica and Dylan, thank you guys so much for doing the backside of this. You guys ran this thing. Our audio video people back here, amazing, too, by the way. Give it up for those guys. It was seamless.
Good job. Thank you for that. Yeah, Monica and
seamless.
Dylan, what a huge help they were to everything here, and all the crew from Big Island that came over and helped from the agency team. And you know Fidelity, they like to give things away, not because they like you. What are you? All kinds of presents.
Canvas bag.
It's for me.
Other things in here. And some more things in here. So,
Some more things in here.
how we're going to give this away is whoever wants to come up here and say one thing that you learned and what you're going to do to implement tomorrow. So anybody can come up and you get a bag.
Let's do it. Oh, look at that. Running.
Libby. Come on, Libby.
Price is
care,
right.
Libby.
Let's go.
I have one more. So
Come on up here, girl.
One more person, get up here.
First, I wanted to share, I literally opened escrow with you like what time is it right now? At 5 o'clock. So Fidelity is, I have to say, I mean, you didn't know this, but Fidelity is my favorite escrow company. The one thing I learned was from, I'm so sorry, where's that young gentleman with the X cap? Oh, Trey was just that, that relentless nature, right? Do you show up when you don't have to show up? And honestly, if you stand for nothing in this world, you're gonna fall for everything. So if you don't serve a higher purpose, your success is only gonna go so far. So I love that. Trust in God relentlessly.
That's my old broker right there.
Okay, test, 1, 2, 3 testing. Okay, I learned the power of resilience. Each of your stories, my goodness, you touch my heart. Because sometimes when I see people up here, I think, oh my gosh, they're so successful. And it's almost like there's this belief in me that, I don't know, it's really touching to see your vulnerability and seeing how you overcame incredible challenges in such a way that makes me feel there's no excuses, really. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen. Thanks, Joanna.
That was good. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Fidelity. Thank you, guys.
That's it. All right.
We good?
Hey, this room's never going to be the same size again. I promise that. Next year is going to be bigger. Let's go. 2024. Let's do it.